Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. This is our 10-year anniversary show. We actually probably should have done it last week to be more lined up with, like, closer to the date. I don't know. I don't even remember the original date to be totally sure. I just know it was in May, like the first or second week. We'll probably go look back tonight. Maybe we'll go look at the old YouTube channel and you can see the horrible Google Hangouts. See how far. We haven't come far with viewers or anything in 10 years, but I don't care. I have a great core group of people that watch the show, and I love you all. But we come far. If you go and look at our original first show, we've definitely come far sound quality, video quality wise in 10 years. It's hard for me to watch. I haven't watched those old videos, but I think Jamie or somebody mentioned going back and looking at those. Maybe we might do that tonight. I really didn't get to plan much tonight. We had a regular storm, didn't knock my power out. Then we had, in the middle of the day, sun was shining, but it was windy. And this dust storm came into Michigan City, Indiana. I'm not joking. A weird, yellowish dust storm. Yeah. Knocked our power out whole night and the next day, and some of my system stuff here I use for the show. I was rushing to get recharged because I didn't realize it didn't charge like it should have after I plugged it back in. Yeah, I know technical stuff you want to hear, but it's been 10 years of this technical stuff for me. Ups and downs of it, but I love it. I love doing it. 10 years, wouldn't give it up for anything. I enjoy all you guys that have joined us over these years in the chat room. It's going to be a lot of weird news and just hanging out with you guys tonight. Open lines, you know, you guys call in. Share your paranormal. If you're new, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your paranormal experience. If you're old and you've been a big fan of the show a long time, I'd love for you to just call in and just hang out for a little bit. Call in and join the conversation. Josh Turner from Paranormal Roundtable, I just was on his watching his show, said he should join us to come say hi as well. That'd be awesome. Any old guest fans, just reach out tonight. You know, I would love to have you hop in here. I didn't really get time to plan anything like bring in all the old people to say hi. I didn't do any of that. I am the worst promoter at all. I'm just here. I'm here for the shits and giggles, and I'm cussing tonight. It's 10 years. Who cares? All right, guys, let's get to the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. 10-year anniversary. I can't believe it. Liam, my youngest son, is 9. You know, he'll turn 10 in January next year. And I remember, you know, people that started the show got to be part of that first year of me having my second kid and having another mental breakdown about it. But it was my stress and cope relief of becoming a father at 2 at that time. It's just a father at 1 at that time. I needed an outlet. I needed to talk to people that didn't look at me like my coworkers, like, you are a weird guy. I needed people that are like me, that have seen the weird, experienced the unusual, and want to talk about it. So that's why I started doing this show, and I've loved every moment of it. And I'm you know, I might not have like the biggest viewership or biggest channel on like the biggest show you never heard of, but I don't care. because I really don't do it for that. I do it just to meet and talk to you guys. Jamie and Rob are my good friends that I don't ever get to see or meet. I did get to meet Rob one day, Jamie. I swear to God, Jamie, get to meet her. But, I get to hang out with these guys on Sunday night. We don't get to do our PUBG Mobile anymore. But this is our way to hang out on Sunday nights with you, too. And I'd like to hear from you tonight. Call in later in the show. We're going to open up the phone line soon. Hopefully, we are charging. We are good. I thought this might be a really short show because of a certain tablet here that has to be used that was not charging. Thankfully, it is. But joining me, as always, I've gone on too long, is my beautiful co-host, Jamie D. How you doing, Jamie? Welcome to the show. Can you believe it's 10 years?
I can't believe it's 10 years.
Like I said, looking at my 9-year-old son, I can't believe he's 9. It's like, I have kids that I hired when they were 18. They're, grown adults at my store that I work for. Like people, their kids are coming to play. Things make you feel old.
Remember how we met.
Yeah, ITC Collective, long time ago. Yes, you're frozen right now. You're frozen right now, Jamie, for some reason. Darn it. Yeah, you're frozen. All right. Hopefully it resets. It's not a bad freeze, at least. We almost wouldn't tell. Oh, no. But I hear you. You there still, Jamie? Or did it totally lock up?
Yeah, I'm still here. Okay. I'm turning off my other Wi-Fi on my phone to see if it makes a difference. Okay.
Well, my other fellow co-host, I'm glad is still with us. Sorry, Rob. Back from the dead. Not really. Sorry, Rob. I couldn't help it. Rob Autry himself from St. Augustine, Florida. You had us scared there for a while, my friend. Thank you for joining us. And again, can you believe it's been 10 years?
No, dude. I saw your picture the other day with your kids. I was like looking at the picture of Dean, going, "Who is that?"
I heard that from a lot of people. Where did that big kid come from? Yeah. So. Yeah, we take our time. We got a lot of weird to get to. We'll get to here in a second, but my boys' game night is usually video games. Yes, judge me all you want. I got a lot of people that judge me on having a video game channel. I do. Yes, there's a Paranormal Soup VR gaming channel, like 34 subscribers. But I got a lot of people like, you're 45 years old. How dare you? Well, I play with my sons and I enjoy it, and let's see here. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. So this, let me get this out of the way. Hold on. God bless it. Facebook. Let me see here. I'll do this real quick. I just want to show. So instead of video games, because, we had no power, what I did with my boys was show them poker. You guys see the screen? Yeah. That's us there at our poker night. And that's Dean. He was... what? So he was 3-4 years old when I started this show.
He was. And
Liam wasn't even born yet. There.
Yeah.
He had your whole haircut, and he was a mini me.
Yeah. Well, now he has my teenage haircut because my hair was that long when I was a teenager, and people are like, "Oh my God, he's looking like you did when you were a teenager," because he's 13. Yeah. Time goes by, memories, and oh my God, thank you, Priscilla, for your $5 donation. Yes, we're going to get to the weird. Enough of me yapping on, but I do want to say shameless promotion because Priscilla here, she's been trying to remind me to promote myself better because I'm horrible at it. You can do YouTube Super Chat and help donate to the show because the bills are getting high. And I need to talk to you, Jamie and Rob, about some features that Restream is. I want to see if they have, because there's some features I've recently been using with StreamYard that I might be using to help update the radio network. I just, after all this time, realized they had. Things like that. But yes, you can donate. You can become a channel member, and I will make sure your messages get up here, or your super chats. Or you can also be a patron. If you don't want to give YouTube any money, I completely understand that. I completely understand. If you don't want to give Patreon money, I understand that too. We can talk other ways, but I don't really care. It does help, though. I love all you guys that help support the show. Share the show. Let people know. That's the biggest way to help. But I know I've yammered on enough. Let's go ahead and get to the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I wanted to go back to one we covered last week, because if you've watched the show for 10 years, you've learned many of my phobias. One of the biggest ones, besides water, drowning, and sharks and pools, as I talked about a Paranormal Roundtable in their chat room, is snakes. And the question last week was this video of a giant anaconda. I try not to, my inner 10-year-old's giggling at that. But the giant anaconda, I got a snake, man. Is it CGI? Is it AI? Or is it the real deal? For those listening on the Paranormal Soup Radio Network, we are a webcast streaming out live to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But if you want to watch, I will narrate as best as possible. Let me remove this and get rid of stop sharing screen on my end and get Rob's up here. I miss Rob sharing screens for me. Thank you.
Frozen.
No, you're not. Okay. You're moving like a real human. She is human. I swear she's not
like
an android.
A real girl.
You're like a real little girl now. Oh my God, you're real. No, we're getting goofy tonight because there's no guest. That's what happens. All right. Yeah, I really don't like little snakes, gardener snakes, and I definitely don't like big giant anacondas, so I'd be happy to learn that this thing is AI. Well, there was no articles. I could find nothing about it last week, even though there's a ton of people making videos of it, because there's really no provenance to this, so guess what? It's probably AI. If I had to be a betting man, it's probably AI that made this. I can't find the detailed tells in it yet. I'm not an expert, so don't look at me. But I'm waiting for the expert to find the detail to tell me, and I'll tell you, right? I have some eyes for it. Jamie and Rob, you get some eyes for this after 10 years of looking at stuff, and boy, the AI now it's just like, I couldn't tell you. AI can do anything. Is this real? I don't know. I'm not going to read the whole article. It basically goes on to tell you they don't know the provenance of this, and that people are debating it, and they don't know if it's real. But there's an article now. Is it real? I don't know. What do you get? Are you guys still on the fence? Think it's CGI, AI, or you think it's a real deal?
I've seen the world's largest anaconda, and it wasn't this big. So, I mean, who knows what's out there in the wild? But that's a pretty damn big snake.
Like I said, I pointed out these things did exist at one time in human history, or not in human history, but before human history. Before we were around. If we were, they ate us. Again, leave it alone if it is. Leave it out in the rainforest, wherever it is. Let it be. Man doesn't need to be there. Yeah.
I would tend to say it's not real.
Yeah, I would definitely. If you want to be a gambling man, I'd put the bet on that it's totally real. And damn it, here's another thing not charging on my system. God bless it. This is a phone line. This is important. Hold on.
Yeah, right when I went on, my mouse was like, your mouse is very low charge.
Now I don't know if I'll have audio on this line again. Huge. Might have to do an online test. All right, let's go to the next one while I fudge it around with this. It's not working. Try it this way. It's like plug it in this way. Did you try plugging in and out? Oh, yeah, there's the video. I forgot it. I don't know, man. Keep watching that while play with this. Tell me your people's opinion. Is it real? Is it AI? I have to bet that it's AI. I'm like flipping the cords. Is it this thing coming on charge? Okay, got that. I got to do a little audio test.
How deep is that water?
Well, it looks like it's on a sandbar. A number of video commenters says it looks like it's on a sandbar of some kind. You would think, if this thing was in water, it would probably stay down under, probably. I would think. Yeah. I don't know. There's even a part where it almost looks like there's like another little snake with it. Let me hear if I can.
Weird every Sunday.
The ghost of Rob. Call into the show. Okay, we're just testing that line. Make sure that works. Sorry. I really last minute got this show set up because things were charging right before it, so it's going to be a complete crap show tonight. But hey, it's 10-year anniversary. Welcome aboard. All right, let's move on from the Digicabra.
Snake, man.
We tried to get Todd Reinert, if people are original watchers from the very beginning. I doubt there's many. But there you are. From the very beginning, there was a guy named Todd Reinert that was on this show, our resident a-hole. And he came up, copyright Todd Reinert, Digicabra. That came from him. We tried to get him to come on. It's late night for him. It's past his bedtime time. Okay. Am I antagonizing Todd if he's watching? He's probably not watching. Okay. All right, next up. Now we're talking about The Matrix. Yeah, another thing, we live in a simulation. Literally, I'm outside working with my 9-year-old in the yard for like 4 hours because, yeah, he got suspended and it was punishing him. And what was it happened? And he's like, I totally think we live in a matrix. He's like, we totally live in a, like, that kid is convinced we live in a simulation. I'm like, oh, great. Strange story. I got this from Tim Biddle from Coast to Coast. Strange story sounds like a proverbial glitch in the matrix. A duck was photographed by a Swiss traffic camera, seen here, 7 years to the day after it triggered the device under the exact same circumstances. The weird turn of events came to light last week in the community of Conies. Detailed the uncanny case, I probably butchered that, on social media. Sharing a photo of the offending bird flying past the camera, they explained that it was photographed on April 13th, the 7th anniversary of the similar instance where a duck was busted back in 2018. However, that was just one of multiple early similarities between the two events. While the timing was undeniably odd, community leaders did double-take when they realized the bird was also photographed at the same exact place at the same exact speed as it was 7 years ago. Insisting that the peculiar post was not a late April Fool's joke, they indicated that it is impossible that the image or the radar system has been manipulated. Of course, it is uncertain if the duck seen in the more recent picture was the same bird photographed in 2018. Town officials jokingly wondered if the animal was a repeat offender, while inviting residents to ponder the nature of such curious coincidences. 7 years repeats, comes back in the same exact camera, same exact spot, same exact time. 7 years to the dot. What do you think?
Pretty weird.
Has the wildlife circle loop repeated for them in Switzerland? The tapes reach the end, and then it's just You know, you've seen, man, we covered it on how many times the Worldwide Web Weird are the animals that are like, the birds that are like just suspended in midair, you know? Yeah. Like, what is that? That's a glitch in the Matrix.
There was recently more birds just falling out of the sky the other day, too.
Oh, I got this one from California.
We hadn't had
There's
that in
bird trouble in California is the next one. Let's move on to that, speaking of.
Yeah.
This is weird. So, you can get this at Coast to Coast. They have the video, the news article from ABC7. But Tim Biddle writes, residents of the California neighborhood are at their wits' end over a weird mystery wherein dozens of birds have unexpectedly died after landing on one particular power line. According to a local media report, the odd case started several months ago when people living on a street in the city of Richmond began finding the unfortunate animals littering the pavement. Based on home security footage in the spot where the downed birds, which now number over 50, have been discovered, their suspicion soon fell upon a specific piece of power line that was seemingly behind the creature's demise. A witness to one of the incidents, Mark Honer, recalled hearing a noise that sounded like a firecracker before it started. Before a startling just plummeted to the ground. The understandably concerned over the strange spate of animal deaths, residents called upon authorities to get to the bottom of the bizarre mystery. Our investigation into the matter raised more questions than answers. While the belief in the neighborhood has long been that the animals were being electrocuted by power lines, examination of two downed birds by the California Department of Fish and Wildlife determined that was not the case. Instead, they found that the creatures had injuries consistent with trauma that could have been caused by a pellet gun, BB gun, or slingshot. That said, people in the neighborhood who have seen the animals in their final moments expressed skepticism over that explanation. I feel like a BB gun doesn't make a firecracker noise, resident Heather Jones mused. This sounds exactly like a firecracker. Meanwhile, many others were doubtful that an individual would have the skill to consistently pick off the birds without having their handiwork revealed. That's what I thought.
I experienced this with an owl. Okay, this was probably a month ago. I don't know if I told Rob this. I have its feathers right here.
Hold on, Jamie. Hold them up. You want?
I was standing at the park, and all of a sudden, I hear the sound when a firework is about to go off. You know, you hear it live.
And now it froze. You're still here. I can hear you. Keep talking. Oh, no. Now you muted yourself. You muted yourself, Jamie. There you go.
So you would hear the firework, like, go up. And so then you're waiting for it to come back down, right? Or you're waiting, like, to see the firework. So I hear this noise, and all of a sudden this big owl starts flying across the street. Like, you hear this, like, zap. It flies across the street. big wingspan lands on the light, the street light overhead. So I go over there to look at it, and I see these like feathers falling down. And I'm like, I don't think it was like electrocuted. I was looking at the feathers. They were falling from all different parts of the bird, like the underbelly part, and they
Oh my
were the
God.
soft little feathers. And it was just sitting up there, like shocked.
Well,
And
how far is
there was
Richmond
no,
from you?
about 40 minutes, maybe.
So it's not too far from you. And then this is one
And there was
particular
no
power
power
line.
line.
No,
There was no power lines back there.
there's some people.
I
there,
told my
my
mom
wife,
about-
my wife was here. She'd be like, "It's the ether." She was like, "They're hitting the ether."
I had been tripping out on this owl thing because I could not figure it out.
Well, that's
I
very
said, it
similar to
sounded
this.
I thought someone stuck a firework up the owl somehow, and I'm like, how did they get that close to the owl?
I don't know, but it's weird. And like, why are they covering it up if it isn't? Well, maybe they.
But
Maybe
the
it
owl
isn't.
was fine. It was just scared.
Well, I was gonna say here, our power company's gone to crap, and like, they don't want to pay overtime anymore and all this stuff, and probably a line they don't want to have to deal with. Maybe they would cover up. I don't know. The whole theme seems really weird. I mean, who would, I mean, if there's some real a-hole out there shooting birds with a pellet gun, they're that good at it. I mean, they're an a-hole. But I don't think that'd be it. I'm with the residents on this. I think something seems very fishy. All right, we got to move on. I'm getting way behind here, but I mean, it's all right. We got all night to go through these articles and your calls. I'd rather have your calls. Some of these are stupid. I don't know. I mean, they're interesting stuff. I pick up on this. Next up, if you believe in this stuff, crop circles. Yeah, you think aliens do it? Do you think it's two farmers? They're dead now, by the way. Sorry, are they? I don't know. But do you think crop circles are a UFO phenomenon, fairies, something? I don't know. But this is the first one of 2025. 2025 crop circle session is from Tim Binnell again. It is officially underway. The UK is the first formation of the year, has been found by researchers. The sizable design, let's showcase in the drone video you see they have on the channel. It was reportedly discovered on Thursday near the village of Sutton Veney in Wiltshire. The formation is believed to depict a Celtic knot with a square rather than a circle at its center. The design has spawned an array of interpretations from researchers, though its ultimate meaning and who created it remain a mystery. Meanwhile, like many farmers who wake up to find one of the mystery's designs on their property, the owner of the field was said to be very upset by the situation due to the high value of the crops that were lost. Perhaps hoping to recoup some of the money, he has opened up the spot to visitors, provided they make a small donation. Do not stray from the existing tram lines. That's the hope he gets his money. He should charge anybody who wants to come look at it. If he had nothing to do with it, I doubt he did, because it destroys. That's money. That's all money flattened there for that guy. There's Todd. See, there's the resident a-hole Digicopper. See, trademark Todd Reinhardt. Yeah. See, he was watching. I don't know. I mean, this is one of those mysteries I wouldn't tell you I know crap about, and I have much interest in, and a lot of theories, and still couldn't tell you what's going on with crop circles. It could be a cult of people that have been doing it for decades, maybe. I don't know. People faking it. No.
Pretty good, man, because that circle
is
pretty consistent there.
One father hands it down to another son. You go on, son, and you keep making those crop circles, Or is it aliens trying to send us stupid humans a message? Or maybe they're stupid because, we got TV. You can just broadcast and say, hey, humans, you're stupid. I don't know. It's all weird. That's why we're here. All right, let's move on. Because we're going to take a commercial break. Yes, I do have commercial breaks because I got to refill the coffee, use the bathroom. I run it like a radio show because if anybody knows, I do the show much in the style of my favorite host of all time is Art Bell. And yeah, I'm nowhere near or ever will be as good as that guy, but I like the radio show premise and I do commercials. I'm sorry, I do. And they're funny. Some of them are from old, you might recognize from stuff. I don't know, but I do it because I need a break. But on to this. Man captures creepy trail camera footage of a strange figure in Arizona. Digicabra? No. Digiman. A couple of months back, Danny Pusher, wow, Fort Apache, Arizona, posted on Facebook to report that he had spotted something strange on the trail camera footage recorded near his home. He set up the camera to see if he could capture anything unusual after hearing a peculiar howling or crying noise coming from the darkness at around 5 a.m. a couple days earlier. Sure enough, when he checked the back footage, he spotted a strange figure that seemed to have been walking alone at a drainage ditch at 2:22 a.m. in the morning. Spooked by the sighting, he posted the footage online to get a second opinion. At 22 a.m. this early morning, trail cam caught something walking in the drainage. Not sure if it's a skinwalker, Bigfoot, someone walking the drainage alone at 2:20 a.m. The footage he captured does appear to show someone or something walking in the darkness. Now, it's just somebody walking in the darkness, right? Wait, nobody should be there at 2 in the morning. If you had somebody walking out and you're out in the open field and you can see this is kind of like country. Not many people out there, and no flashlight at 2:22 a.m. I'd be a little weird, and you're hearing weird noises at night. I think it's a little weird. It's hard, blurry footage, I know. He had a trail cam. They're not great. Can't wait when the technology is out there to, I don't know, make clear night vision trail cam footage. That's the tell right now for AI, by the way. When you get the night vision AI, when they make something that's supposed to be in night vision, and it's like, yeah, that's totally AI, because night vision can't like get the crappiness right.
Yeah.
It just can't. It can't get the crappiness right. Oh, all right. Well, all right. So that we're gonna go to commercial break. I got somebody texting me right now. I'm like doing my show right now. Please stop. All right. Wow, this is what happens when you run your phone system through here. Don't do that. All right. Put this on Do Not Disturb. I'm running behind, as you can see, but 10 years of doing this, you think I'd get used to these kind of things. We got more weird besides this. There's a lot tonight, and we're going to go over that. But I'd rather hear from you. I'd rather take your phone calls right now tonight. But wait till we come back from this commercial break. It will be short. I swear, I promise. It'll be very short. You might have a laugh. You might not. You probably won't because you've heard it 100 times if you're a regular listener. I'm sorry. But it's my break time, just for about a few minutes. We'll be right back. Call in when we come back. We'll continue with the weird stories. Tonight's 10-year anniversary show.
Necromancy. You were brought here for one purpose. Necromancy.
A ceremony dating back to the pre-Christian era. It's the art of reviving the dead. It requires involvement with evil spirits by the person performing the act.
The devil god brings life to the dead.
No, please. No, please.
And death to the living. Necromancy, starring Orson Welles and Pamela Franklin. From Cinerama releasing, in color, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and InterfaceDeath.net.
He is conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
Hello, I am Fernando Martinez. I think by now you know I am an emotional kind of guy. People stop me in the street and say, Fernando, what the hell is wrong with me? Silk shirt, hairy chest, enough aftershave to drown a household pet, but I still cannot get a woman. I tell them you are an ignorant fool. Without a symbol of power and fertility around your neck, what kind of woman is going to respect you? That is why I have teamed up with Medallion Man, the shop for medallion needs. Medallion Man caters to all levels of masculinity. For the strong, silent type, a medallion the size of a hubcap will say everything that needs to be said. Even singing medallions for the Casanova who knows music is the food of love. Model trains, dollhouses, diapers, whatever your interest, we've got a medallion for you. Don't forget, every woman knows if you can't support a medallion, you can't support a family.
This is the sound of a space clock aboard a U.S. satellite 180 miles above the Earth. No one winds up this timepiece. It's powered by a tiny battery, a battery that delivers power for years without replacement. Now the same type of battery, the Duracell battery, can bring new reliability and long life to your battery-operated equipment. Radios, cameras, toys, all run far longer. Duracell batteries, the long-distance power cells, outlast any ordinary battery. The same type of battery that keeps space clocks running for years can bring long life to anything powered by batteries. Dura, as in durable. Cell, as in power cell. The Duracell battery, made by Mallory.
Switch to DCS range read.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, it is our 10-year anniversary show, and again, it's when I say it, it just feels weird. And that's what we are, I guess. It's weird all the time on the show, you know, that's what we love. But it feels weird. 10 years, I really, you know, when I set out to do the show, I didn't really know how long I'd be doing it. I didn't really think about it, you know, I just had fun doing it, and I have been having fun for 10 years doing it. And yeah, it's had its ups and downs, and we've had periods of time where I had to be gone because my basement was flooded, or piece of equipment went down, and generous donations came from fans of the show to help keep us going back in the day several times. Thank you all. And your generous donations can help keep the show going. They do pay the bills. I really don't make money doing the show. I do it because I love it. If you enjoy this kind of thing, you can help out. There is the YouTube channel membership. That is one way. There's Patreon. You find those links in the description of the show. At least for the Patreon, that link is there. You can just click on the button for the YouTube channel membership. But they do help pay, and Super Chats, they do too. You know, and I understand if you don't want to donate to either one of those, I get it. Just share the show, tell people. We do want to grow. I love having more people in there, but I'm proud of the people I have. I think we have a great group of people in this chat room, great callers. I love you all, and I want to hear from you guys tonight. Call in. I'm going to open up the phone lines here in just a second. Let's go ahead and get back to the show. All right, yeah, I'll just open up the phone lines. We'll do it early tonight. If you want to call in early, because, you know, I know some people might want to call in, but they can't stay up all night. I'll leave them open. Interrupt us. I don't care. We're just going over goofy articles. Some not so goofy, some serious maybe. I don't know. It's weird. All right, what's up next? Cop makes gruesome discovery near Taylor's... Well, yeah, so, yeah, that's right. So I've seen this going around. Taylor Swift, there's a body by her house. Oh, my God. You know, if you go around doing music videos, like you went from Sweet Little Country Girl to doing music videos where you're reenacting, like, satanic rituals, when they find a body, even, like, a football yard from your house, or, no, not a yard, it was like a football field from your house. But they're going to start wondering, and even the New York Post said, hey, let's just make this a headline, because people are going to totally click on this. You mean being Taylor Swift, imagine, you know, like, it's like a football field from your house, and just because it's by your house, your name has to be in the title about them finding the body. But at the same time, I love how Hollywood is like, why do they, these stupid conspiracy theorists, why do they think we're Satanists? I don't know why. And then they do all this stuff at award shows and music videos and all this stuff that's totally like, yeah, I don't know who's gaslighting here. But anyways, they found a body. They don't know nothing. They're saying they don't. The weird part about this is the cops are saying they don't think it's foul play. Did you see that about this?
Just random dead body. It's not foul play, though.
It's in Rhode Island. It's an enclave. It's just a stone's throw, as New York Post puts it, from Taylor Swift's beachside mansion. Police were called to the swanky Watch Hill neighborhood at about 9:30 a.m. Wednesday following the grim discovery. Upon arrival, officers located appear to be a human leg bone. Westerly Police Chief Paul Gingerella, that's what it looks like, Gingerella, what a name, told the Post in a statement. The remains were collected and transferred to the Rhode Island Medical Examiner's Office for further analysis. The chief added it was probably a couple football fields away. Okay. Taylor Swift's house at the Ocean House. Taylor Day. She calls her Ocean House Taylor Day? Jesus. A local resident who was driving by just as authorities descended on the scene told NBC 10. I would never expect anything like that, especially not at Watch Hill, the resident said. Investigations are still working to confirm the identity of the remains, but the cops said no foul play is suspected at this time. When you find a leg bone,
yeah,
let's start with foul play is probable.
Yeah, it just doesn't randomly fall up a tree.
So it makes you wonder. Nothing to see here. Move along. You know, like it makes you wonder when the cops do that. Nothing to see here, people. Move along. Move along. You know. It makes you wonder. And then, you know, I don't know. The craziness I see now, though, with people in this, it's so good. The internet is just awful. That's why when you hook AI up to the internet, it just wants to destroy all humans. I would never want to be Taylor Swift. We actually, in my local area, in our county jail, is a guy who got famous, like, thanks for letting them know you're from our town. For literally breaking into her apartment in New York or something.
Oh yeah.
And I found out nobody wants to bail him out. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't either if I was his family member. Yeah, I would never want to be famous like Taylor Swift. That would be torture. And not no sympathy. I'm sure she's doing just fine, but it would be torture.
Look what happened to Britney.
Oh my God! Don't get started on that. Almost. Dios. You ever seen that South Park episode? It's a good point, though. It's a good point. Gonna be a good harvest this year. All right, let's move on. I feel like that's what they're setting Taylor Swift up for. Anybody seen that South Park episode? Anybody? Anybody? I swear that's what they're setting her up for. I swear a year from now she's gonna be shaving her head. I'm awful.
For a whole other level.
I'm going to hell. I know. Okay, let's go on.
It'll be different for her.
In bigger news, I could get a Star Wars speeder bike. Take my money. Play this. Watch this. Watch this. This is a real speeder bike this company made. Don't play the audio from it, though. Dear God, don't, because I'll get Jonathan Williams copyright strikes on this. But this is a real life air speeder or speeder bike. He dresses up in the full freaking stormtrooper or speeder bike, scout trooper outfit, and flies around in this. It's real. This is not CGI. Like I said, I need to put that Futurama Fry clip. He's like, "Take my money." I don't have any money. My wife would kill me. She's like, "You wouldn't let me buy a motorcycle, but you're going to buy a speeder bike." Yes. Doesn't go as fast, but you saw what happened to this in Return of the Jedi. They're like, "Where's our flying cars?" Well, we're getting speeder bikes first, people. You can see. I mean, this thing looks cool. Now, can let anybody just fly these things around? Probably not.
Yeah, I see major accidents.
Yeah, you crash on one of these things. Just like I said, go watch Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It doesn't end well. Luke does just fine.
People can't walk or drive on the ground as it is. I don't want that coming crashing down.
It's from a Poland-based firm. Volanaut has invented a remarkable new hover bike that doesn't use propellers to stay in the air. It uses a proprietary stabilization system that makes it possible for the bike to stay aloft and enables the rider to control their flight with relative ease. The firm also maintains that it's so comfortable that the rider will become one with the bike. Of course, given that it uses jet propulsion, noise is likely to be a factor, as is fuel. Yeah, it makes a lot of noise.
But do you get that cool helmet with it?
But right? Do I get the can you see out of that helmet? That's probably the problem. You notice
Probably
like how I give this. I always thought that the speeder bike guy in Star Wars, like, no wonder he's crashing. He's got tunnel vision. He's got the visor thing comes out like this. No wonder he's crashing into the tree.
He can't breathe.
Remember what Luke says? He's like, God, how do they see out of these things? That's why they can't shoot anything for a damn either, right? I don't know, but man, just make me the lightsaber next. No, they won't. They won't cut off my arm. All right, let's move on. Oh, I did open up the phone lines, right? Yes, I did. If you want to call in, let me put the numbers up. You can break this craziness. There we go. 219-230-4444, 260-225-9419, Skype ID oojblandoo or jblandparanormalsoup. Soup. Only really have one line to take the multiple ways to call in, but just hang in there. Try calling again. If it hangs up on you, it goes to voicemail. Sometimes it just hangs up on you, and that's my worst problem with it. All right, where are we at? Oh, yes. So while they're making speeder bikes, that's the important thing. But, at the same time, they're also supposed to be turning lead into gold, according to this article. I think it's Live Science's original article. I got the Unexplained Mystery one. It's a little bit shorter. Large Hadron Large Hadron Collider turns lead into gold for a fraction of a second. For centuries, alchemists around the world were obsessed with the practice of turning lead into gold, an achievement they had hoped would make them rich beyond their wildest dreams. Now it turns out modern science has actually figured out how to achieve that exactly. What is unlikely to make anyone wealthy anytime soon. According to the findings of a new study between 2015 and 2018, the Large Hadron Collider, the world's largest particle accelerator, created 86 billion gold nuclei while running experiments that saw lead atoms being smashed together at 99.99993% speed of light. While that might sound like a lot of gold, it totally amounts to a mere 29 trillionth of a gram. Not only that, but it was destroyed within a fraction of a second of being created. It's impressive to see that our detectors can handle a head-on collision, producing thousands of particles while also being sensitive to collisions where only a few particles are produced at a time, enabling the study of rare electromagnetic nuclear transmutation processes. Or you're opening holes to other dimensions and changing the timeline and causing Mandela effects. I don't know. But yeah, turning lead into gold, sure. This article's been going around. They just talked about it in Live Science, but it happened back in 2018 to now. I swear... It's like publicity run. Don't look at us doing the rituals outside of our thing, and don't blame us for all the Mandela effects happening. We're turning lead into gold. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Also science. Universes will end much sooner than expected. New study finds. How many of you think that they really understand or can tell when the universe will end?
No.
Right? Well, exactly how and when the universe will end has long remained one of the biggest questions in physics, with most scientists these days agreeing that the cosmos will eventually decay and everything in it, including the stars, nebulae, and even black holes, or nebula, not nebulae, even black holes will ultimately die out and evaporate into nothingness. Up until now, a generally agreed upon figure for how long this will happen is 10 to the 100th billion years. That's followed by 1100 zeros. I don't know, a long time. But now the 3 Dutch scientists have come up with a new figure and suggest that the death of the universe will happen much sooner than this. These people are literally getting paid to sit around and go, I figure, to argue about something that nobody's going to be here to tell if you're right. What's the point of it? I don't know. The key to their research was recently discovered that neutron stars and other objects can evaporate via processes akin to the Hawking radiation, not just black holes, as we previously believed. But recalculating how long this would take for everything in the cosmos, the scientists were able to come up with a much lower, though still huge, figure of, again, 10 billion, 78 years difference. I don't know. So although the end of the universe comes with sooner than expected, but unfortunately it takes a very long time. They seriously sit around calculating something and arguing about it and getting paid for it, I'm sure, by some university and grant, and they have tenureship to argue about this. Well, we go to work 40 hours a week, whatever. They earned it. They got the degrees on something that we will never be able to prove in any such way. I don't care what you discover in science, you're never going to figure that out.
Because they're the experts.
Yeah. Oh my God! Did you see the Joe Rogan, Zawi Sawas, whatever, the Egyptologist on there? Did you see that? Oh my God! Talk about an arrogant bastard. Oh, it's really painful to watch him. Sorry, off topic. All right, what else? Didn't have much else, actually. I only got 2 more. Damn, so we're going to need your phone calls. All right, 2 more left. What do we got? I've seen this one going all over the place. Everybody sharing different articles on this one. We all emit a glow that vanishes when we die, new study finds. Now, this I actually find pretty interesting. Researchers have discovered that all living things emit a distinctive glow due to a little-known phenomenon. Spiritualists have long claimed to be able to sense or even see an aura around living things, and now it appears that they may have been right all along. Although the explanation is a little different, the new study, which was conducted by scientists at the University of Calgary, Canada, discovered that photons emitted by chemical processes within the body produce tiny amount of light. The existence of such phenomenon had been disputed for years, but now researchers have been able to capture direct evidence of it using ultra-sensitive cameras. To achieve this, they photographed the mice in the dark with an hour-long exposure. This really shows this is not just an imperfection or caused by other biological processes, lead author Dr. Daniel Oblick told New Scientist. It's really something that comes from all living things. It's like the Force, all living things. Okay, sorry. The fact that ultra-weak photon emissions is a real thing is undeniable at this point. The researchers also recorded the same phenomenon in leaves even after they were cut from the tree. They also found that the glow was brighter than when damage activated the plant's repair system. In mice, however, once the animal had died, the glow stopped. This shows in a very clear way the UPE is associated with being alive. Isn't that interesting? So
you can actually see the light go out. I've seen the light go out.
I think this is super interesting. You know, I think these scientists smell their own farts too much to really get to the bottom of that. Sorry.
Another South Park.
Yes, I watch too much South Park because I have a humor like a 10-year-old child. You know, oh, see, now there was a call and I went to I hit it and it just hangs up.
Drake was trying.
Who was?
Drake was trying, and I think he might have tried. He said something about
Drake. I'm trying calling you because I only see one person that tried so far on this line at least. The other lines might be Fubar. Nobody calls in anymore. Is that you, Drake?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. You hear me? You there?
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, who is this?
It's Jason, Paranormal Soup.
Oh, yeah. So I could barely hear you. The volume's really low on the phone for some reason.
Oh, all right. You hear me now? You hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I got both my headset on.
Okay, man. Sorry, I had to call you back. You sound like you're like in a fan or something going on around you.
I'm actually at a festival, our county fair, but I'm actually sitting at my friend's table. Haunted America. Haunted Hearts of Los Angeles, meet the author, Brian Clune. So.
Oh, wow.
So you should get him on your show when you get a chance. He's been writing a lot of books.
Send me the info. Paranormal Soup, jbland@gmail.com, man. Let me.
I will.
I'm looking for guests.
Yeah, I'm going to try to work on some of his stuff, too, because we were actually planning to make on some trips for some research coming up soon, too.
That's cool. You could be my man on the street right now. What are the people doing at the fair?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. They actually are having Halloween in summertime, which is kind of interesting.
They are
There's
awesome.
A couple of booths here selling all sorts of stuff.
I want you to start yelling at people right now. You say, Paranormal Soup, Jason Bland says you are all awesome. You just start yelling at them. Yeah, because we're the show nobody knows.
That's something no one knows. Yeah, I came by. A few people came by and actually kind of heard some of the stuff going on, so... But yeah, it's kind of loud here, so that's why I called in to say hi. I haven't talked to you guys in literally a while, like a year actually.
Has
like
it been
last
that long?
year. It's been a while.
See, time flies. 10 years. I didn't even know. I didn't know it's been that long since we talked to you.
Well, congratulations on the 10 years, because for me, I didn't realize I started in paranormal back in 2006, and how many years ago was that?
Oh my God, shut up.
Almost 20 years ago. So
Yeah, make me feel old. All right, well, thank you for calling in, and enjoy
Well,
the fair.
congratulations on your 10 years.
Thank you so
Keep
much.
up the work.
You have a great night.
You too. Bye.
It's like I get the man on the street thing. You know, I used to. The reason I do the show like a radio thing is I used to listen to a lot of different radio people, like Art Bell, Mancow, and Mancow had always had like the stupidest people. Turd, it was one of his guys. He put that on the street. Chicago people know. Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago. All right, now I'm not. I'm Indiana. All right, but yeah, all things have a living glow. I already know that. I can see orders. I have seen orders. I don't know if this is related to orders. I bet it is.
But now it's in mainstream media. Mainstream media, so more people can believe it. Because
Right.
mainstream media has said so.
Right. If they say so.
Hmm. Just like it has to be on TV to be believed. If it's not on TV, it didn't happen.
The thing is, I don't believe anything I see on TV.
Exactly. Well, these people don't
Like,
believe it.
on
TV.
9/11.
Throat punch. Throat punch.
Anybody remember Subliminal Man from Saturday Night Live? Like, I don't know anything. Why wouldn't people not believe the media 9/11? Why would they not believe the toys are a bunch of liars that they're telling? You remember Subliminal Man? I love that.
I loved it. Who was it? Who was it?
Was it John?
Dan Aykroyd.
No, not Dan Aykroyd, not them. No.
John Lovitz.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, John Lovitz is the yeah, that's the ticket.
He's
a liar. No. He played Doug in Weeds. Oh God, I can't think of his name.
Okay.
Grandma's Boy, he was the boss. He's a great guy. Can't think of his name. Real funny guy. See what we're dropping into. Call in. Join the conversation. Hopefully it doesn't hang up on you or I catch the call. Help donate to the show so I get better call lines? No, that probably would have happened, but your donates do help. I've had migraine auras. What is migraine auras? Smog? What's that?
Kevin
Nealon.
Nealon.
See migraine? Was it Kevin Nealon? Is that the name? Yeah.
Mr. Subliminal.
Mr. Subliminal. Yeah. Kevin Nealon. Yeah. Steals the show in Weeds, by the way, if you ever saw that show back in the day.
That was awesome.
Yeah. You remember him in Weeds? He was Doug in Weeds.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah. Kevin Nealon, there you go. You're late to the party, Gary. Of course, there's a delay.
Yeah. True.
I only had one more article. It's kind of sad. Why is it sad? Hundreds of UFO fans gather at UK seafront to witness fleet of spacecraft. Anyone who happened to have been walking around the seafront of Eastbourne, England on the evening of May 10th would have no doubt run into a large crowd of people all staring expectantly up at the sky. The atmosphere was a bit like that of a festival, with music blaring from speakers and people chanting excitedly about what they hoped they would witness within the next few hours. Turned out the gathering was all to do with a prediction given by Danny Henderson of the Galactic Informers Spiritual Connection, or GSIC, an organization cult founded to prove the existence of our off-world ET brothers and sisters. I'm sorry, I don't know if they were. I'm just doing the subliminal man. I'm an a-hole. I'm sorry. In a video last week, Henderson had suggested that Eastbourne would be the site of a major sighting. Did you know there's a fleet of spacecraft flying over Eastbourne Beach May 10th, 2025 at 8 p.m. tonight? She said while urging people to come in their millions. I'm guaranteeing at least 2 real spacecraft. So what did the crowd see when they gathered at Eastbourne on that time and date? Not a lot. As it turns out, there were a couple flashing lights in the sky around 1.5 hours later, but that was all. Exactly what Henderson believed so strongly that something would happen remains unclear. I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're called. I'm sorry. I did the subliminal man. I can't even do it. Right. Let it go. That's it that I have the World Wide Web of Weird. I didn't have a lot. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. When I was going to do work on it, it was like right when my power went out. Talk about that weirdness. Dust storm? Michigan City, don't ever remember having a dust storm.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It was showing up on people's emergency alerts too.
You know, we're going into a Great Depression. Meaning we have to have the dust storm to go with it, like the Great Dust Bowl. Is that what's going on? Weird weather madness. You call in and let me know. What's your weird weather madness going on in your area? You call in. You let me know. Phone lines are open. Why did my banner go away, though?
The barium or the strontium, that's, some of the chemicals that they use for the dimming project and the aerosol.
Cloud seeding.
And weather modification. This is for the dimming project. One of them turns into like a orangish kind of color when it mixes with oxygen. And I have photos of like the orangish like haze around the sun, the moon. And last night it was settling down because of the colder air and this and that. But it makes me wonder because we get all this weird orange dust like everywhere because of it. It just settles. So I'm wondering if it's like a big old cloud of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was weird when it happened because it's weird because I was working on the yard before the dust storm with my son, and I was kicking up a lot of dirt. And I thought at that time, I go, oh yeah, like when people were, when we had like major like agriculture going on and we weren't managing land right, and we created a lot of like dirt, and it got spread and it went everywhere, and we got a big dust bowl. Early 1900s and the Great Depression, all that stuff. I'm like, I thought about that. It was weird. I just had that thought. And then later that evening, when the power goes out, me and my son go outside, and it's like yellow haze. I'm like, ooh, what is this? That's not smoke? I'm like, no. And then I found out it was a dust storm.
Florida, it was like, I don't remember how long ago, but Florida had a similar dust storm come in. And it was around the time that some states nearby was reporting the slimy stuff falling from the sky that they were trying to pull off as like a high pollen count. But when you saw the goo, it's like, that's not pollen and it's magnetic.
Nanobites.
You saw that storm? You saw that dust, didn't you, Rob? Or was it just nearby?
You there, Rob? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, it was here. Yeah, between all the dust and all the pollen, it was pretty hardcore for a while. Still kind of is.
Well, Gary, was my town. He said, I own a white car, and it was literally completely brown. I can imagine. Yeah. And then, I had something weird, 25 years at the mall. Oh, missed call, see? And I know this one. Calling you back. I think this is Ziriana.
Ziriana.
You there?
Hi.
Hey. See, it doesn't like it does. It's like, gotcha. Like,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to say congratulations, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
On your show.
Have you had weird weather?
Yeah. We've been having weird weather. We've been having for I think a couple of days. We've been having like weird, like rain, but it's like it could be clear, and then it becomes cloudy, and then all of a sudden we get like a downfall of or deluge, if that's the word, of rain, and then it lasts for like 10 minutes, and then it's gone.
Yeah, well, we've had it's what I've been noticing is like the real big uptick in wind patterns. Like suddenly be really calm, and then suddenly a huge wind pattern comes in. That's what happened with this dust storm.
It's just weird weather all over the place.
And what I found like correlating with it weird with our area, with the way it went down, our area, of course, is doing this whole like getting rid of a lot of the coal power plants and replacing it with solar. And then all this weird weather anomaly happened, and then the power is out everywhere, and they don't want to pay overtime to the power line people, and I think about what happened in Europe, in Spain. What was that, a month ago? And they cracked it all up to weird weather anomaly while they're going green and And then now afterwards, they're doubling down. They're going more green. They're doing more solar after it proved that it wasn't enough for the whole electric grid. They're going to do more, right? And here we had it all go down. Now I don't know the particulars, but I mean the wind was strong, the dust was strong, but like how bad things were and knocked power out for how long. I mean, what's going on here? And then you got stories about power lines, zapping birds and stuff, and then like, oh, it's nothing here. No, it's just some guy with a pellet gun. Some weirdness going on, not just with the weather, but with the power companies too.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping you had that video that I've been seeing like on Facebook and probably YouTube, where like the lightning strikes and it's like ball lightning and goes through the cars. It's like a parking lot and it goes through the cars. It's kind of weird.
I haven't seen that one.
Not the one where he's driving the swerve.
No, it's like lightning hit, and then lightning hit somewhere. They were having an electrical storm, and then it's like the lightning was like traveling. It was like ball lightning and traveling, and it didn't do any damage to cars or anything, but it was like looked like really weird. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Send it. We'll show it. I was also out of power for 24 hours. So there's a lot I didn't get to see, and I've been on social media much. So that's why the extended Worldwide Weird wasn't very extended tonight because I had a lot of time.
Yeah, and no Bigfoot or about the underground alien bases or something or what underwater. That seems to be a topic that's been talked about lately.
Well, I saw that there's that famous one off the coast of California, or that they've seen it on the. You can see it from. Used to be able to see it from Google Space, and it's like it looks like a structure underwater. Like that's got to be an alien base, an underwater base. And now they've scrubbed it from like the Google. You can't find it on the ocean map radar. And they scrubbed it.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make people suspicious, No. I mean, you might as well just leave it. People have had it up. They've had it. It's been on the Google Maps for like 15 years. They might as well just leave it by now. You're scrubbing a little late.
Yeah, definitely. What was I going to say? I didn't know if Rhodey or Katrina were going to be on. I don't know if they had been on since the beginning, since you had started. I wasn't sure.
I didn't get a lot of time to plan this or reach out with them. I know Katrina's really busy. Rhodey, I haven't talked to in a long time. I hope she's doing great.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was wondering, because I know they've been on, over the years, Well,
let me just, I'm going to make this statement, and I'll make it now. I don't like any drama, but I will say this for now, just to clear up any confusion. Rhodey and Katrina will not go on a show together anymore. They've had a falling out. And I don't want to get into any more of that or talk about their personal business, but that's why I don't have them on together anymore.
Well, yeah, I know, but I know when they've been on the show. So.
I love them both. I hope you guys all understand this. I don't care what's said between those two or what happens, and they're both not trying to get their drama out there either. But I love those two women very dearly. They're like my paranormal moms, and it hurts when two people have an argument with each other. And I just pray that they work it out. And I'll have to get them on the show separately in the future, both of them. But together, I'm just going to make it now. And if they're mad at me for putting the drama out there, I've just gotten so many questions about this with the 10-year anniversary. I'm just going to get it out there and say it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they're both lovely women, and I'd love to have them both on the show. It probably will not happen together. All I can ask is pray for their friendship.
They are. I miss doing a video. I want to do a little video and say like happy anniversary and stuff, but I miss doing it. So I apologize.
Don't apologize. You don't have to apologize. I didn't do much to prep for the show. So, you don't have to apologize for you not doing anything. I'm the one that's supposed to be doing the work here, not you. I'm just glad you called in. Yeah. That's what matters.
I have something that you might, if I can ever send it to you, which I'll send it to you privately, whatever. But I have you talk about Art Bell a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I know, he was my favorite one, for paranormal and whatever. But I have some stuff that you might appreciate that I used to get from him.
Oh,
so
really?
Would you like to know?
Well, I don't know if you want to stay on
used
air
to-
or anything. I mean, it's up to you.
Well,
but, yeah, I mean,
well,
it's Art Bell. I'm
I used-
sold.
I used to get the news. He used to put out a little magazine.
Yeah.
And I signed up for it, and I got that, and it, it sold, and they're, I mean,
That's awesome.
they're all, I keep everything in good shape, but but I thought you might appreciate it.
Oh yes.
I also have a book that I got at a book sale, which kind of jumped out at me, and it was kind of weird because I wasn't looking for it. But it was a signed copy of Art Bell's The Quickening.
Oh man! Ooh! Oh my God! I would crap myself if I found something like that. I would giggle like a little girl. Why? I'm getting like a weird whistling sound. I don't know if that's from you or from somebody else on the line.
Now, I had gotten that, like I said, at this library sale.
Awesome.
I don't know even why it was there, but it kind of fell off, and I'm like, well, it didn't look too interesting. Then I looked at the name, and I go, whoa, that's a fine. And I looked inside, and it was signed, and I was like, awesome.
I've always wanted a copy of his book, The Quickening, and then the other one about his life as a radio host. I can't think of it.
Well, I only have, I know I only have The Quickening. I don't have any of Whitley Strieber's or any other books that
I have a bunch of Whitley Strieber books
that came out. But
favorite book by Whitley Strieber is Majestic.
Yeah, no, I was thinking like a Communion or
I have
whatever.
that too, but Majestic is a great book.
Yeah, but if I, like I said, I'll message you privately, and if I can send those out to you, I'm sure, I'd like them to go to someone who actually appreciates instead of,
I love that the Talkstream Live that we are on has those channels that play Art Bell. And a lot of them gone down because of Coast to Coast and ownership rights and stuff like that. But it's like, don't do it. Don't fight over it. Just let the shows be free out there for people to hear. I mean, you're not making money on this anymore. Let people hear Art Bell. Because, I did that road trip. One of my favorite memories of my son, spending times with my oldest son, is when we took a 2-hour drive for a field trip of his, just me and him, and playing old Art Bell for him, and just seeing how much that kid got into that episode, And I think people should appreciate it. It's timeless, even though it's like traveling back in time when you listen to this. When you hear the Somewhere in Time with Art Bell, you really are somewhere in time with these episodes. And you can go hear a lot of them.
Yeah, and I remember those shows. But,
I still listen.
I even, I don't know if I still have it. I don't know if I gave it to my son or not. He was asking questions. He used to listen to Art Bell, too. But I got a CD, I think, was a CD, and it was a CD with Father Malachi.
Mm-hmm. I think they used to sell those, right? Yeah, he used to sell copies of episodes and stuff after the show.
I don't know what I don't even think I paid a heck of a lot.
No,
I think
they weren't very expensive, but you could get copies of them.
Yeah, so I know I have that somewhere.
Yeah, that's
but
precious.
I couldn't even.
Those are precious. I think anybody who holds those CDs, hold on to them.
Yeah.
You don't know how much Coast to Coast is going to make disappear.
But I don't really care about the new Coast to Coast one. Because too much drama
I've heard
on
people
that.
tell me that George Norrie sounds like he's drunk on here. I'm like, no.
Well, I mean, I don't know. He's always. I don't even know if I could say it.
Yeah, it will be nice.
I can.
I've heard he's a really nice guy. I don't know, but I just never cared for listening to him. It's nothing personal. He doesn't really do the aliens and stuff like that anymore. So. No, they're selling you some Alex Jones nutrients or something or some product probably. It's the model now.
I kind of call it snake oil salesman, but my personal opinion,
Mine
I didn't
too.
want to get banned
Opinions
or
are like
anything,
assholes, we all got 'em.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have that, and like I said, I'm glad. Definitely, I can call in, and I know I didn't start from the beginning, so But
I don't know how many people are actually in the chat room have been here since the first one. I think a lot of people moved on, but that's fine. But maybe we'll look at one of the first episodes. You'll see why people didn't stick around back then. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough.
Well,
I'm glad you didn't see it.
Yeah, actually, I started listening to Jamie and Rob because I was listening to your show, and I didn't know they had the Wednesday night show.
Weird Wednesday, every Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Central, people.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, they have a show? So it was like, and I used to forget the time, and whenever it was on, but now I'm, I listen to that too, so.
It takes a while to get used to it. Like, what time's your show? Like, you get here and like, I'm just got here. I see all the time in the chat room. Like, I didn't know it was live. It's every Sunday night. We start at 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. Maybe we go 3 hours. Sometimes we don't. Maybe, it depends on the guest and things like that. But it always starts. It was my set schedule. I was told a long time ago, keep a set schedule.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah.
Check in the Parasoup chat. Okay. Oh, maybe Rob. Can you check it, Rob, and see if it's something we can share? All right. Well, thank you so much, Ziriana. Your calls are precious to me. Keep being a caller.
I love your show, and I love their show, and I definitely, I support them, and I support you. So, that continues.
And it means the world to me.
So,
we love you so much.
Alrighty. Everybody have a blessed evening.
You too, Ziriana.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Is this the one thing Ziriana was talking about?
No, this is from Tony.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Are you able to play it, Rob? You're muted, Rob.
Yeah, I think so.
I love how you tried to mouth like you're still muted, jerk. Hey, thank you. Yes. Appreciate that you all keep the tradition of Art Bell going. Art was open to the possible, yet also skeptical, and put the kibosh on a lot of BS, like Major Ed Dames, yes, and Rods, oh yes. Nori killed CTC, yeah, sadly. Yeah. He had help, but yeah. Thank you. $10 donation means a lot. Yes, Super Chat guys, channel memberships, they help. And if you put a Super Chat, I'll make sure that gets up there for people to see, of course. I am just showing comments now, though. I saw somebody was a first-time person here. Hello, it was Monica. There's Monica. Hello.
I think she came over from...
Oh, here we go.
PRT.
See if you get the audio.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Hey, I just want to say congratulations to Jason Bland, Paranormal Soup, 10-year anniversary today. That's fantastic. 10 years of podcasting. Unbelievable. Nice job. Congratulations.
Aw, thank you, Tony Rothman. Got to check out the Staticon he's doing. It's the, I mean, to me,
I just want to say congratulations to Jason
Bland. I'm hearing it again.
Paranormal Soup.
Still hearing it.
Started over.
Everybody calls it a podcast. Hey, how's your podcast doing? It's a live stream. I have nothing in the podcast world, and I know I probably could be successful in the podcast world. I don't have money to invest in that. You know how much it costs, like, to put a 3-hour show up as a podcast? All these podcasts are like 30, 45 minutes long. Because that's kids' attention span now.
If
You got them for 30 minutes at best.
I even find myself doing, like, I watch a lot of YouTube, and I'll click on a video and I see it's like, 50 minutes. I'm like, no, I can't go that long. Like,
that's why, Rob, I am at, because people like you, I'm only at 3,500 subscribers on YouTube because you don't have an attention span to take 3-hour shows with commercial breaks.
Well, I only have
I
like
get it. I understand.
So you're ahead of me.
But I listen to like a lot of YouTube shows and stuff later, like when I'm doing stuff. Like I like to like listen. I could listen to Art Bell. Sometimes I can't find nothing I really want to listen to. What do? I go to Talkstream Paranormal Radio app and find an Art Bell channel and throw it on. I don't listen to myself though. I don't. I can't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
It's too weird. It's hard when I have to edit it, like for things like doing the World Wide Web of Weird or when we do the ITC shows, Spirit Box. We can see the Spirit Box wants to say something tonight, too, for the paranormal. Maybe it'll say Happy 10-year anniversary.
There you go.
We got to get Tony Rothman on here. When he gets that Staticom working, dear God, we got to get him on here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not been impressed by many things in the ITC community in a long time. And what I'm seeing, what they're doing with it, and what they're experimenting with, that's where it's got to go. There's no question. There's no voices. It's white noise. You're literally pulling voices out of white noise. Just like why I loved EVP research, why I was huge into EVPs when I first started in the paranormal. And it's still my favorite because it's not white noise. It's voices out of thin air, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool software and apps and whatever, but yeah, I mean, just a good old fashioned EVP. It's nothing beats that.
Never. I love it. We've had some crazy responses come through on just the regular apps. I think Spirit can manipulate anything. Honestly, if they want to.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're driving down the road and there's a song. And you're having a moment, and that special song suddenly comes on the radio for that person. The Spirit made, things happen. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Divine intervention happens all
It's the Matrix. It's the Matrix. We just live in the Matrix. That's what my 9-year-old Liam thinks. It's the Matrix.
When I was in the hospital, especially the first couple of days out of surgery, of course I was all drugged up and loopy as hell anyways, but yeah, I had some weird thoughts, Yeah, drugs are bad. Yeah. I'm like, am I dead and I don't know it? I was having all kind of...
I think you had reasonable suspicion at that time.
Like, is this real?
Right? Nobody blames you for that.
Yeah.
You did have a heart attack, and you're under a lot of drugs. That would have been my first thought, too, my friend.
Yeah, I was like, well, people seem to see me, so I guess I'm not like Bruce Willis and, The Sixth Sense. But what if they're dead too? I was having all kind of weird thoughts.
Where he's still working in the afterlife, dear God.
Yeah.
Not getting paid, Bruce. Yeah, that's a sad story with him.
Yeah, it is.
Quantum computing put us in another dimension. Or we're already in another dimension. I don't know.
Yeah, like I've said it before, like I'd hear my grandparents, like, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait till the weekend. And they're like, yeah, don't wish for that. The older you get, the faster time goes. And I'm like, you're crazy. But yeah, now it's like 10 years. How did that happen?
I've always wondered why, like, you watch old people, just very few old people, except for my grandfather, usually drive really slow.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I've seen my grandfather drive in a long time. He's 93, I think. Right, Mom? Is she still in there? But every time I remember, just a few years ago riding with him somewhere, he don't drive slow. But everybody else, old-wise, seems to drive slow. I wonder if it's because of perception of time difference, or is their perception of speed change? Like, to them, they're going 90 miles an hour, even though it says 20. And they're like, wee! It's really like, but in their mind, it's like, yeah. Get that gas, baby. Like the perception of time. So to them, they're like going roller coaster speed fast, but it's like,
I got 49 horsepower. Look out.
Because time speeds up. It's like, as you
Yeah,
get
it
older,
does.
like it felt like my childhood summers would go on, even though to me they felt quick at the time. Now I think about it, I'm like, no, those felt like ages. Each summer was like its own like adventure period, and like went on forever. And now my kids' summer breaks. I'm like, God, you kids get no break.
Yeah.
It's already gone. I mean, shit, the school year's already gone. We're about ready to hit summer break. I'm like, damn. Which I can't wait, because then I get to sleep in on Mondays after the show. Can't wait. One more week. I got one more week. They get Memorial Day off, you know. I get to sleep in on Monday after the show, because after a show, I have to get up 6 hours after the show.
Yeah, that's the other weird thing is no matter what time I go to bed, I wake up every morning at like 5:30 or 6. Woke up this morning after playing a gig last night. I figured, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep late. No. Woke up at like 5:45, and I'm like, all right, guess I'll go to Walmart and get some coffee.
Now you know you're an old man.
Yeah, exactly. I got to drink decaf right now.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I can't
Sorry,
quit.
man. I'm gonna rub this in your face right now. This is not.
Yeah, I know, man. I haven't broke the coffee kick yet.
Good stuff.
It's a habit.
I'm not refilling it though. Like I used to make like a big pot of coffee and like refill it all through the show every commercial break. I'm not refilling it. And I stopped doing that a long time ago. Because then I'm like up to 4 a.m. and I got to get up in 2 hours. I'm like, oh my God, and drive kids to school. No, I'm not doing that. So like I have coffee at the beginning of the show and it gets cold and I let it get cold and go away and I don't refill it. And
yeah.
The other part is just I'm peeing all night long trying to go to sleep and I'm waking up going to the bathroom. Yes, TMI. Welcome to Paranormal Soup. We share all.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock this morning. I'm like, I'm out of coffee. And I'm like, well, I got like 4 or 5 bags of regular coffee in there, but I'm like out of decaf. I'm like, what's open at 6 o'clock in the morning? Where can I go get coffee? So off to Wally World I went.
Yeah, man, I don't. Decaf is just torture.
It's horrible.
Like a tease. It's
the
tastes
stuff
awful.
I had.
The first couple of sips are like, oh, this isn't bad, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 later, you're like, this is not coffee.
Yeah.
This is not coffee.
I had Dunkin' Donuts decaf, and it tastes like soap. I'm like, what do they do to this to make it taste like hell? So now I got Javalia or something like that, and it's actually pretty good.
Javalia.
Javalia. I don't know how it is. Some fancy Italian blend.
Thank you, Sherry and Tell Tony. Thank you for the video that we just played the video. Thank you so much for the video. They are opening more portals. Are we talking about the hard-on?
Giant hard-on.
I did that. I used to do that joke because I said it like 3 times in a show once, and like didn't realize I was saying hard-on. It wasn't on purpose either. So now I have to do it. It just
hard-on collider.
Yeah.
It's going to be that kind of party.
But it's like they even mock it, and then they like there was that one guy, and wearing like the Moonraker shirt. Like, yeah, we know we caused the girl not to have braces now.
But yeah, that whole time going by faster thing. I think you get in the car and you go somewhere. Everybody's in such a hurry. Everybody's driving like crazy.
And they're like this. They're driving like this with their head down on a phone. Oh yeah, I could do that. Remember? Hold on a second. Thank you for the $3.50 donation, King Dibbles. Am I got that right, Varloff? Thank you. Yes, you can donate and help the show. I get why people don't want self-driving cars. I've had this debate. Remember Kevin Malik? Remember he was like. Me and him talk about the self-driving. He was totally against it. And God rest his soul. I miss Kevin.
See, but when I came home,
but I want it because of people like this driving with their. I'll trust the AI over that. I'm sorry.
I came home from the hospital and I couldn't drive. They were like, you can't drive for 6 weeks. So I could see how, you got a self-driving car. Well, technically, I'm not driving. Even if you called a self-driving Uber, whatever,
I said, yes, Jason, they have been cranking it to almost 14 TeV almost daily for weeks straight. They upgraded the machine and made it more stable. Okay.
They made it to where it'll rip a bigger hole in the universe. But do it
Opens
better.
the portal at CERN. So CERN Hadron, or they're opening portals to hell.
I mean, any place that has the god of destruction statue out in front of it, there's a hint and a half for your ass.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was just a joke. It was just a joke. Again, it's just like Hollywood. Like, why do you think we have satanic cult parties?
Was it now? Was it?
And next, here's Taylor Swift. Remember the Young Country Girl? She's gonna do a whole wear black robes and do a ceremony thing here. But no, don't. Why do you believe her satanic stuff?
Besides that, did you see Katy Perry's last performance, where she's doing
not particularly,
and the baby?
I did.
She just gave up. She even said that she was having laryngitis, and she meditated to her higher self, and her higher self said, "What is perfection? We don't need perfection. Just go out there and have fun. These people paid all this money for you to go out there and have fun." No, they paid for a show, and they're like,
"Wait, is that all she did? Like, she never sang?"
She let the background track do most of the singing.
Wow. And she did those things?
And she did E.T., her song E.T., so she had these lightsabers that she's fighting this guy on wires. It was so out of sync. It was totally giving kindergarten play for your parents. It was like she wasn't even trying. She was just up there gallivanting around.
You remember, we covered it. Remember the whole thing with her being on stage and her eye twitching and her doing this thing she passes on strange. But then you find out she did that at multiple shows. It wasn't one time, so it was an act. But why?
Yeah.
Is it because the community? They're like, I'm going to sell into this, and it'll make more people watch me because they're going to think I'm an MK Ultra, or I am MK Ultra, and this is my cry for help. I don't know.
We think a lot of the costumes were influenced because of the Orion, whatever uniform she was wearing. It was just really bad. It was opening night, and they blame it on everything, but it sucked. The monitors, I don't care how many monitors, how many people she had, they came for Katy Perry, and Katy Perry looked like she could give a crap less.
Monica, is your ex-husband a robot? I mean, are you talking does he do the eye thing like Katy Perry did? Is that what we're talking? I might have missed something there. I don't know. What it is. I watched a movie with my kids and my wife, and we wanted to watch it because my kids are onto this kick of Nicolas Cage is the worst actor ever, but he's in every movie. We're gonna watch everyone. They're gonna watch every movie because it's just hilarious. He's the guy has no free life. Obviously, he's got to pay off all that debt for buying a T-Rex dinosaur head he had to just give back. Things like that. Dude, he bought a T-Rex skull and it was illegal, and he had to spend $2 million on it to get nothing back and give it to a museum or something like that. The guy's in super debt. That's why he's in every movie. There's literally one movie he did where I'm sure the script, dude, you don't have to remember a line. We just need you in the movie. You just beat up a bunch of animatronics, and you never say one word. You don't have to speak one. He literally did a movie like that. But it was this movie, what was it called? It's about dreamings. Dream Scenario. Thanks for having me. What was that? I heard thanks for having me.
That was me.
Oh. It was called Dream Scenario. And it's about, and it there's that internet folklore of everybody dreaming of the same guy. It was this weird kind of weird guy's face that they would say everybody's dreaming about the same guy. I'm like, I didn't dream of that guy. Thank God. He looks kind of creepy. But it's like that. So I think it plays off of that. Everybody's having dreams of him. Okay. And he's just this lowly professor teaching biology at some college that has tenure, but his students are bored as hell of him. Nobody pays attention to him. His wife doesn't pay attention to him. His teenage daughter doesn't pay attention to him. Nobody pays attention to him. But here he suddenly is now the most famous person in the world because everybody's dreaming about him. And I swear the whole movie is about people becoming famous, like Hawk 2 Girl, that kind of people. People are not ready for it and how it will destroy them. Just destroy them. And society eats them. Because those dreams he's in, like, usually he's doing nothing in the first dreams people are getting, and then suddenly the dreams turn to him doing some weird stuff, and then the dreams turn to him attacking and killing people. Now everybody's uncomfortable around, nobody wants to be around him. Go see it, Dream Scenario. I can't say it's a good movie. I'm not going to tell you that. It's Nicolas Cage, again, but I laughed. There were some funny moments that were, you're going to go, you let your children see that? I'm like, judge me if you do watch it. But they really wanted to see it because it's a Nicolas Cage film. I haven't let them see every Nicolas Cage film, but I probably was bad to let them see this one. But you know,
they like Nicolas Cage though.
Like a bad movie, like like how you appreciate bad pulp culture, like bad things that are good.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Nicolas Cage movie?
No,
I don't know. I can't keep up because he's got a movie like every 2 weeks, right?
He's in it. I can't even watch it.
What is it?
It's called The Surfer.
No.
He plays a surfer, an aging surfer that has a son that surfs, and they get into like turf wars with the locals.
Oh my god,
It's
that's
like the classic
so bad.
Nick Cage,
so bad.
like
Where's it filmed at?
So bad. So
Yeah.
bad.
But,
Usually I go to a commercial break now. I won't. We're just going to keep talking for a while. I don't know if I'm going to go to a full 3 hours. I might take a break later if I need to, but we'll just keep going. Phone lines are open. You want to call in, join this stupid conversation we're having about Nicolas Cage. I don't know. We're just talking about whatever, hanging out tonight. It's 10-year anniversary show if you're just joining in. Yeah, we do weird stories, and we take phone calls. I'd love to hear if you're a first-time listener or watcher, you call in. If you got a paranormal experience, that's the bread and butter. That's the thing I live for in your phone calls, is hearing it. Who created the D-Wave quantum CPU? It's go back. Jody Rose. I missed whatever Dick he was talking before. That really happened. I missed the first part of all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Chat goes by fast. Email me, paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com if I missed something tonight you're trying to get across to me. Facebook Messenger is not always the best. If you are friends with me on Facebook, I don't check it often. I'm calling in. You call in, Dick. I'm keeping my eye out for it because it likes to hang up on people. Try the 219-230-4444. That's probably the best one to try to call in on. Watch, I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and that's when you will. Let me check my Sideline app. Where is it?
Yeah, Raising Arizona is good.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, they actually love that one.
You go there and get me that baby.
All right. Who do we got on the line?
Hey, Jason, it's Dick. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, Dick, thank you for calling in, bud. We got to hear. So what were you talking about here?
All right. So what I was talking about is that thing where people were seeing the guy in the dream.
Yeah.
That happened for years.
Yeah.
That actually happened. You can look that up. And that guy, for 100%, looks exactly like Geordie Rose, who was the guy who invented the D-Wave quantum computer. It happened for about 10 years before they actually came public with the D-Wave in 2012.
Hey, look that up, Rob, because I remember this story, and it's been a long time since I've read anything on it.
People were posting it on telephone poles. Have you seen this man? Have you been dreaming about this man? Blah, 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 blah. And there's hundreds and hundreds of pictures of him. People would sketch him out.
Yeah. I remember the story. I couldn't remember the name of the guy.
I completely.
So Geordie Rose is the one that said that they were talking to fallen angels through the D-Wave quantum computer, or the quote unquote Lovecraftian old ones, as he put it.
Lovecraftian old ones. I mean, anything Lovecraftian's pretty tentacly demonic-ish.
100%.
Not good. You're not gonna have a good time.
His quote is, "They're not quite demon. They're not. They're not demons, but there's something else. So if they're not demons, but they're superior to demons, then they're the fallen angels, in my opinion. My humble opinion, anyway. But he runs the Kindred now. He got out of the D-Wave and he runs Kindred, which are the humanoid androids, where they're bringing AI into these new androids that look like people, and you can't distinguish them from people.
Yeah,
that's where he's been for the last.
We're talking about. I don't know if you can see the screen. There's the delay. We just put it up. This guy.
Hold on one sec. I'll go back to YouTube here.
Yeah, just don't let the audio
and I'll
play.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly who it is.
Yeah, Yeah,
that's
this
exactly
is
what
a
it is.
classic one. When I was trying to explain it to my sons, I'm like, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember the guy's name. I can't remember the story, but I remembered it, and I'm like, this was based on an actual thing that happened. I was telling my son, so that got them interested. Why they were like, well, it's Nicolas Cage, and your dad's talking about it being something real. And is this the real picture of the real guy?
Yeah, look up a picture of Geordie Rose
him,
now.
Man, you had a mugshot.
Geordie Rose 2012. Look up a picture of him and put it beside that. You'll see.
Let's see. It's getting them all kinds of stuff because it's Google.
Yeah.
It's like, nothing to see here, move along. There is no Geordie Rose.
Right?
I'm serious. It'll do that. But no, thank you so much for tuning that in, because I was something I was going to research for my sons after we watched this movie. I'm like, I'll find the story, I'll tell you about it, and I've been meaning to, but what's been going on? So I
maybe put in Geordie Rose D-Wave computer.
I think he found his LinkedIn profile there. Josh, you know about Geordie Rose?
Hold on 1 second. I can't hear you guys. Let me get my
earbuds
in.
There he is.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on? You remember this one with Geordie Rose? Show him the other picture. You're probably gone from that now. Where everybody's dreaming of the same guy?
Oh, yeah.
Because we watched Dream Scenario the other night. I know Nicolas Cage starring in every freaking movie.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch.
He's got to pay off the T-Rex dinosaur head. But yeah, like everybody's seeing this guy in their dreams, and he was doing this D-Wave quantum computing. We got Dick on the phone line here.
Hey, Wolf, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
No, not too much, man. Just cracking the case on this son of a swear word.
He definitely got the receding hairline. Like, you know what I'm saying? They get the mugshot. They get the worst qualities in the mugshot. Or not the mugshot, the artist description. The guy's got to draw it. And then he had this really big head. It's gonna get your worst features out there. Is what he did for him. But he was talking to Lovecraftian.
Do you know what the D and D wave? Yeah, do you know what the D and D wave stands for?
No.
Dream.
I mean,
so everybody's dream. Everybody's dreaming about him.
Well, and you know what? There could probably be some DOD funding behind all that. If our government could discover a way to enter people's dreams, damn straight they're trying.
Yeah, and
I believe he's the head.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no,
I was just going to say, I believe he's the head wizard at the Kindred cult.
Oh. But yeah, I think they're definitely been experimenting in that to get into people's dreams. And what is funny is the dream scenario. I don't want to give the whole movie away, but let's just say, of course, companies find a way to market the whole dream thing, and then you have advertisements in your dreams, which they basically stole that from Futurama. But yeah, thank you, Dick, for adding that little bit of weird folkloric knowledge of Geordie Rose.
My pleasure, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and that dude, they did a whole thing on him on, what is that show called? Not on him, but they were like, why is this guy showing up in people's dreams? The Y-Files. That's what it was.
The Y-Files, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and I looked into this, and there are, and I was talking about it earlier on the show a little bit, about how, that was when John Hicks was on. That's L.A. Marzulli's son-in-law. He came out at the beginning of the show, and he's a good friend of mine. And we were talking about them finding the tomb of Baal. But Baal is actually multiple. There are multiple Baals. There's Baal Haman. There's all these different ones. And I told him, I said, we are supposedly the sum of the 5 closest people to us. You become that. We're all interconnected like that. And a lot of ancient civilizations, they would bury their dead. In particular, the Han Dynasty was notorious for that, for them finding, 6 people together.
Yeah.
Because one of the emperors would die, and they would have... Now, they had others with them, too, this whole retinue, whatever, but their closest relatives would be their closest 5 would be buried around them. And it was also something In ancient Persia, they did too. The Levant was very common. It was very common. Mesopotamia. But I look at this and I think about how I have had close dreams, like with some of my close friends. We've had dreams that were the same.
Me and my wife.
You've had that too?
Yeah. I mean, I've been married 21 years, and we've shared a couple dreams together, for sure.
Yeah. It happens. And it's weird because, like, I was dreaming earlier today, and my wife was hearing part of what I was saying because she was up dealing. We have these two puppies, and they are border collies, and they are the smartest dogs on earth. The border collies. They're too smart for their own good. They're very clever. We have a ranch, and they're cow dogs. So we, and we weren't staying at the ranch. We're staying at our house in town, and it was just. I've had weird dreams there over the last few months at the ranch and at my house, having just different dreams. But I had one that happened out at the ranch, and I know I was out of my body. And then it was in the daytime too. And then it happened like 2 months later at the house, which is 40 miles away. And you start kind of wondering, like, why am I having this recurring dream, and I'm having it at different locations, and I know that I'm leaving my body, and you're encountering some of the same people. They look the same, like human looking people, and you're having these interactions with these whatever they are, and you start to wonder, like, what could be the root cause of that? Is somebody messing with you psychically? Is it that you're having, I don't think it's something like that where, like how do you say it? Like, I'm not losing my mind. I don't think I'm crazy, and I know that this is, I think that you could live in a place that has like activity, and then even when you move, something could follow you.
Yeah, I know that. Hey, real quick, Dick, I'm going to let you go in case anybody else can call in, man. Thank you for calling in.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
I'll see you. Have a good night.
All the best. Yeah, thanks, brother. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Two Shadows, for the $10 donation. Thank you. It does help support the show. Well, like the dream thing like this, like I said, imagine if this is real, and we know, and I think it is, you think it is, everybody probably in this chat thinks it is, and has had that experience, and our government's done remote viewing and done all that stuff, they're going to investigate dreams. You know, one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I play the ad reel, is Dreamscape. Remember that movie? Because that's what they do. It's a government is like a remote viewing program, but in that they're entering people's dreams. And the plot line is the CIA is the president is having nightmares about nuclear Armageddon and wants to have a peace deal to shut down all the nukes. He's done with the nukes, right? So what does the CIA do? In the 1980s, they knew it. They're going to enter his dream with one of their dream guys, agents, and he's going to kill the president in his dream. Of course they're going to kill the president. They got to keep the military-industrial complex going on. You see why this was one of my favorite movies as a kid and shaped and molded me? It's a great movie. And of course, there's one of the worst scenes in this movie is when this little kid's having his nightmares is a snake man. So it terrified the hell out of me as a kid. This movie, Dreamscape. It's so cheesy, but it terrified the hell out of me. And who was it? The main actor, Dennis Quaid. I play the ad in there. Dreamscape. But they probably Hollywood. They're like, oh yeah, they have some friend or whatever. They're like, yeah, I got these guys in government. They're getting enter people's dreams. Like, oh, good script. Tell me more.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Speaking of Dennis Quaid, have you seen that series Happy Face?
I have not. I've heard just a teeny bit about it.
Yeah, he plays a psycho serial killer in that.
I want to see. He's also like the agent or somebody in the. I want to see that one movie of Demi Moore, The Substance. Which I think, what are they talking? Like, are they secretly talking about adrenochrome in that movie? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Now YouTube's gone, flag him! Flag this! It's a trigger word.
Yeah.
Inception. Man, that was a confusing ass movie, but yeah, Inception. Going to enter this dream, and we're going to go deeper into the dream, and then deeper into the dream.
Yeah, since I've been sitting home, I binge watched the first season of Landman, and then
Landman.
Yeah, with Billy Bob, and then I started watching From. I watched the whole first season of that, and then Happy Face.
You're getting all the good TV show watching going on.
Yeah, I never watched TV, but since
Right?
getting home,
I never get time.
Yeah,
I don't either. I haven't watched TV in 2 weeks, maybe 3.
Yeah, and I didn't have power. I didn't even have power. We got a weird dust storm here in Michigan City, Josh. I don't know if you heard earlier. So that's why I lost power. Yeah, Michigan City, I've never seen a dust storm like that or anything like that. It was weird. Knocked out our power and everything. It was like yellowish haze. And I heard in areas it was like a complete wash, like complete dust storm. Right through here, it didn't hit so bad, I guess, but I could see it. And yeah, knocked out the power. And what I found interesting is like we're in this area getting rid of coal and moving to more and more solar. And we had this weird weather phenomenon, just like a month or two ago, we had this whole thing in Europe. Anomalous weather phenomenon causes power blackouts, brownouts, right? And some people were reporting some of their power was on, like their front porch light was working, but the rest of it wasn't working. Like weird things like that.
That happened to us recently. Our one of our breakers, and then it was weird because like all the power went out to the house except for the dryer.
Right, that's the stuff I was seeing. Now, all of our power was gone here, but that's what I was seeing on Facebook from people in Michigan City talking about. It was weird things like that. But like I said, it reminds me of what we just saw like a couple months ago, or a month ago. What was it in Europe? They had that whole thing because they're switching so much of their stuff to green power or whatever. And then they said because of this huge temperature drop, the system couldn't handle it. So now we're going to double down more. We're going to invest $6 billion more and do more of it.
Yeah.
See how that works out for you guys.
Well, they just raised the gas prices in California.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin over there, he's just and they're like, this is the template we want for the rest of the country. I bet it is because it's a communist nightmare. So yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, how's that working out for you over there?
Mm-hmm. $6 for gas. We're paying $2.22 over here. And you're going.
That's just a little tip of what he's doing to us. It's bad.
Jamie's living it.
He's going to be running for president. It's going to be between him and AOC. And
I don't want to get into. I hate all of them. I don't want to get into politics on this. We could talk. Me and Josh get along on this topic quite well.
Yeah.
but
I
don't want to get.
I don't.
But I don't want to get into it with everybody else. I want people to call in with a weird paranormal tonight, and not tell me about how stupid AOC is, because I think we all know she's stupid.
So let's do a paranormal here. I got something for you. Okay, so we'll get away from the donkey toothed bartender. Look, he goes from lighting her farts to the Senate, but whatever.
Oh, I will say this, just to make it obvious to you people: she was a bartender, and now she's a millionaire, and all you have to do is get elected to Congress.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
No
anyways,
limits, whatever. No term limits. So we were talking about dreams, right? And I had to ask you a question. I don't know your name. I need to be introduced. I don't know.
Rob.
Rob.
Yeah.
Rob. Okay. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Rob. I'm Wolf. Well, everybody calls me Wolf. Josh Turner is just kind of, that name came back after I started doing the podcast, and it was kind of getting used to being called that because nobody around here calls me that. Even my parents call me Wolf. So it's like everybody's like Josh Turner, and I'm like, at first you're kind of like not used to hearing the name. You're just used to hearing your nickname. And even like my cousins, some of them will call me Josh. Most of them call me Wolf. But you kind of get joking around about it, and so if you're my friend, just call me Wolf. So but I didn't want to say, I don't know you or whatever, but we were talking on a few shows ago about the city of night, which is something that people, they end up there when they dream. And one of my really good friends, we call him Scorpion, that's his nickname. Me and him have had the same dreams where we've been in this place that's like the city, and it's dark. It's like a dark place where there's really dim light. There's no real light. And the best guess that I have is that these people are being used as batteries. the people that are there. Their spirits are out of their body, and they're just using you as a battery. And you have these sort of menacing looking guard like people, but you're free to roam around the place. It's almost like an MMORPG. You know, you're just kind of wandering around, and there's only way I can describe it, but not really. And I've seen a lot of people who I know have crossed over. I've seen them there. And I've seen a few people who are still alive, and at least 3 of them remember me interacting with them and being in this place. And so I have a question for you, Rob. What is Landman? What is that about?
It's about the oil business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Billy Bob works for this guy that owns, an oil company, and he ends up,
Yeah, I have 3 relatives in the oil field, oil business.
Go look up Zapata oil.
No, okay.
Yeah. No, that's not politics. That we're going to talk about the sordid history of the CIA and the George Bush.
Yeah.
If you were to go into these people's dreams and you were able to achieve whatever, you could get people to have conversations with you and talk to you if you were so inclined and you were these evil people who do these things. And what's going to happen is they're going to talk to you in their dream state because they think it's a dream. They don't realize they're out of their body. And it's as real as the flesh and blood that covers our soul. Then when they return to their body, they're not going to have any recollection of it. And if they do, it's very sort of like, pixelated.
It's drifting in their subconscious.
Mm-hmm. So you can pick apart people that way, and it's another form of control. And I believe from top to bottom, 100%, when you get up, and this is in the criminal world, when you get up into the upper echelons of the criminal world, I started to realize something from years ago when I was in a nightclub. I was doing things, I've been a straight edge, upright citizen since 06. But I was around a lot of nefarious characters. And some of them are actually pretty notorious. Some of them I've seen on Gangland and on Narcos. I'm not even joking. I've been like a few feet away from some of these people. And I know them in a different light than a lot of these people. They'll romanticize it, or they'll say things about them that just is absolutely not true. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not who they were. But because you're just given the media's persona that they created.
The headline.
Yeah, and that's not who they are. I knew them on a whole personal level, and people oftentimes have reasons why they do the things they do, and people don't understand it. But it's like something they just either had to do, because once you get into that life, it's a whirlwind, and I nearly died getting out of it. And I talked about it on the show. I was basically the one time in my life I can say that I was abducted at gunpoint, and just they caught me without it being able to defend myself when I tried to leave that life, and they were trying to force me to help them do something to this other group. And I said, you don't understand. I'm standing on my principles here. I'm not going back. And they kept me all night, and then I got the holy hell beat out of me. And then I was taken out in the country, and they said they were going to kill me. And then there was an argument, and I started screaming and yelling and telling them to do it, and just kept walking. And then finally I turned around, and there was nobody there. They had driven off. And and I was missing a shoe, and I had to go and get my shoe. And so I know about that life. But what I learned, though, long story short, because I just want to give a backstory there, when you get to the upper echelons of the criminal world, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Albanians, Armenians, Italians, Greeks, Russians, Lebanese, I don't care, Chechens, it doesn't matter. It does not matter whether you're a black gang, some type of Hispanic gang, Mexican, El Salvadorian, it doesn't matter, Venezuelan. They'll all tell you the same thing. They start to dabble with the occult.
Oh, yeah.
And it is almost 100% once you get to where you're up to a certain point. Now, I do it in like tiers. Like you have like this low-level tier, which is the bottom of the pyramid. I would say it's level 4, like the 4th level. You get to the 3rd level, it gets a little more competitive. The 2nd level, you're right below the very top people. that's where you start to encounter where you have to make a decision. You're going to be a part of that, whatever, to enter into that top tier. I'd say 90% you have to agree to deal with brujeria or some sort of Santa Muerta or the Baba Yaga, whatever it is, whatever occult flavor of people you're dealing with. And now you got to realize something too. You have Greek Albania, you have Sicilian Albania, then you have Greeks, and you have there's all these different kinds. There's Russian Armenians, then there's Russians, and there's Jewish Russians, and then you got all these different flavors. It's not just like in the movies. It's like
powerful families and all of those.
Very powerful. And then you start to deal with these their witches. They're Strigoi if they're Italian, whatever. And then you get into these families that have been doing this for generations, and they've had power for a long, long time. And I notice some of the scariest people too, like the Armenians, the Iranian Armenians, they can be extremely treacherous. And nothing against people who are of that, but I've dealt with a lot of these different people. And when you deal with these kind of people, you start to see the same pattern. I noticed from each one of these families, you would see them showing up to meet with you with these occult symbols on their neck. They would have, and I had no clue exactly what it all was. I just knew it wasn't good. And I would go home, and my dogs, I had these two big, I mean, I'll just tell you what they were attack dogs. I had a German Shepherd and an English Mastiff, and they were bad dudes. Somebody tried to break into my house, and they tore the guy's arm off. I know that because the arm was in my yard, and the cops were they found the guy down the street bleeding out, and he got deported too with one arm. Yeah, that happened years ago. So this dude broke into my house, but I had a lot of craziness around me, and it didn't matter what
obviously
your flavor of crime was. It didn't matter whether it was some sort of narcotic or guns or whatever it was that these people were doing. There was all of these people doing it, and there was so much of it. I mean, there was so much of it, and some of these people just looked like little normal businessmen, and they'd show up with a briefcase and a lawyer, and you're just like, what in the hell? And then some of these people, they look the part. I remember a guy had a tattoo on his neck, and there were skulls on either side of it, and it said "cut here," and I'm like, dude. So I gave that guy a story. I said, the serial killer Dennis Nilsson killed a skinhead one time with that same tattoo. You might, because
oh my god,
he did it. So he was a British.
Don't give people instructions on how to kill you. They might.
Exactly. Yeah, and I guess he was basically saying like, I don't care, F the world, whatever. FTW. He had it on his face, so I guess he really didn't care.
Well, that's a lot of those people in that mindset.
Yeah.
The world kind of calls it upon you, like, F the world.
Yeah. And you look at these people, and I started to realize something. I started to notice the similarities between them all, that they all kind of had their own little totem of who they served and they worshiped. In Santa Muerta, the saying was, God created me, Jesus forgives me, but she protects me. It's a female persona that they follow. And it is it's the Lady Death, not unlike what Thanos, he was serving Lady Death. A lot of people, they didn't show that in the Marvel Universe movie, but he's actually killing these people because he believes he follows Lady Death. That's who he serves. He's in love with her and he worships her. And so he's like, I'll kill half of all creation for you. And so he did it. But that's a different, but people don't realize Marvel Universe, yeah. And you look at these people though, and who they serve, who they worship, and it's all of them just trying to out evil each other with different totems that they're into. And it wasn't until the last few years where I started to really go deep down into what this was, and I realize now over the last 2 years, it's this vampiric type servitude that they do.
What did Putin say? The vampire ball is over.
Yeah, because they're drinking blood.
But no, I mean, what you're talking about though is the same, what people accuse the Hollywood inner circles are doing, and what we're hearing with the Diddy thing and the Epstein. But the Hollywood circles really, that's what you hear. it's a level of degrading as you go up in the levels of these private parties. Like you'll have a room you'll go into, and then another room that'll be even worse, and then another room. They're testing you. How much crap can we throw at you that you're going to put up with? How much are you willing to sell your soul here? How much morals are you willing to throw out the window for whatever we're willing to give you? Fame, power, whatever you're looking for. And people do.
It's the good old days where you just met the devil at the crossroads,
Yeah.
Like Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
Now the devil shows up with baby oil.
Exactly. 1,000 bottles of it.
Working. Yeah.
And then you've seen, and then the AI is just going nuts with it. I've seen so many Diddy baby oil AI videos with whatever.
If you got the balls or the sand and you want to do that and you get involved with the deeper and deeper, you have to make that choice. You do go to the crossroads, and that is where you have to turn back. And when I was up to that point where you could go further in and have that albatross around your neck and be trapped forever, or you could turn around. That's where I stood on my principles, and I said, if you want to kill me, go ahead. Obviously, I can't stop you. There's more of you, and you have guns. What am I going to do? I'm not Superman. And so they eventually decided against it because even though I had dismissed everybody, I still had a big circle of people that I was associated with, and there were a lot of people that saw me at that strip club that night with those guys. So you had to stop and think, hey, if you're going to do this, you're going to be the first people looked at, and everybody knew what was going on. And they were beating my ass in the parking lot, and there was a dozen people there, whatever. One thing I know, though, if you look at the death of the rocker, I guess you call him a rocker. What do you call it? The Beach Boys. Brian.
The one that drowned.
Yeah, that drowned. There were a bunch of people around him when he died. Right there in a pool in L.A., like in California.
You think he was given a choice?
I think he was murdered. I think that what they did, they sacrificed people. And I don't care. I argued with this one guy. He's a listener of the show. He's a fan of the show. I don't have a problem with him. But he just argued vehemently that he believes that that's the real Paul McCartney. I don't. I just do not.
So you think Paul is dead?
I absolutely do, and I think that they did it for a reason. When he had that car wreck, they say, "Oh, he survived it." If you've ever seen the vehicle, I don't believe he did.
Oh, it was wrecked.
He's done. He's deceased, and according to the reports, there was blood all over the car. Like, how did this guy? And then there's no scars or anything. And he's just like. So Billy Shears was a Canadian musician or whatever. Or he was found in Canada, let's put it that way, but he's British. And I know that once you're knighted, there's nobody that's going to say you're not who you are, because the crown is not going to knight you and then go, oh, yeah, well, you can go out later on and admit that you're so-and-so. That guy's going to live his life, and he's going to die as Paul McCartney, as Sir Paul McCartney.
Do you think that's John Lennon's How Do You Sleep at Night song is about?
I do, and I've thought this before because I've been doing some work on that. And when you said, Rob, when you were talking about the crossroads, it hit kind of like, I do. The dark side of music is something that I would like to explore more. I have been exploring a lot. My brother was a musician for years and years.
I'm a musician.
Yeah, you're a musician. My brother's a musician, former Satanist. My brother, former Satanist, born again Christian. And he went through absolute hell with his life. And I kept telling him, if you don't get your life right with God, you're going to just keep having hell, And he kept telling me, well, you're living in this lifestyle and you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And he was right. And I had to get my life right. And I had to go full on the opposite direction. You can't be half a gangster. You can't be half a Christian. And the two don't mix. They really don't. And I can tell you this right now, that God had a plan for me, because if not, I would have died that night years ago in a ghost town. It's literally a ghost town where I was at, and it's right outside of Manor, and these guys were trying to kill me. And I've told this story before, and I make no bones about it. I mean, there's my brother right there at the bottom. He just said that is true. So what happened to me could happen to anybody. Now, I could have kept my guys around and gone to war with whoever came and messed with me, but I knew that if I just left it the way it was, I would have more karmic debt on me because it was better for me to just die alone and then take people with me or try to make them fight a war to keep me alive. And not as many people came after me as I thought there were, because I was dealing with a lot of different factions. I thought somebody's gonna get rid of me because they hear that I've gone
They
straight.
shut you out.
Yeah, that way you can't say something, that might incriminate somebody, which I had no plans on. But they don't leave loose ends typically. And this guy that did what he did, he was trying to get me to help him overthrow his uncle, and I told him no, and I'm not going to do that. And I said, "You're on your own with that. That's not my war. Your domestic squabble is not my concern." And he's like, "Well, it is your concern because by the end of this night, you're going to make a decision. If you don't do it, we're going to kill you." And but he was foolish. He had a driver of this limo that when we left that strip club that was actually wired. And so I got a visit, and then they were telling me, "Hey, do you want to?" And I'm just like, "I don't want anything to do with this anymore. I just want to move on with my life." And lucky for me, there were a lot of people who got busted and taken down a couple years later, and I wasn't involved in any of that. And I thank God, because it was all over the news. It was big time downtown here in Austin, and now Austin is downtown. Austin is considered the most dangerous place in Texas. Reason being is the homeless. They've done more damage and killing and stealing than any of the gangsters, because most of the gangsters try to keep it on the down low. Then you have the gang bangers, which is a little different. But
what you're talking about is just human chaos.
Yeah, but
it's RoboCop Detroit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
where civilization's falling apart.
The homeless is not, and I want to stress this, Jason. It's not the homeless people, like somebody who's down on their luck.
No,
they have built entire Bartertown-esque, Mad Max cities. Here,
Bartertown. Who runs Bartertown?
Whoever does enough bath salts, that's who runs it. But so I have experience, right? And these people will literally eat each other. I'm not even joking.
We've heard those stories.
Yes, and they are cannibals. And I tell people, and they think I'm making it up or I'm trying to dramatize it so I can get views on my show. I am not. They are some of the worst of the worst. And I told this police officer the other night, I do a patrol at night. I have to do one tonight. I'm not doing it. Thank God I'm off. But it was, I told him, I said, there's just one building we have, and the entire building is Venezuelans. And I'm not saying anything bad about Venezuela, because I have some Venezuelan friends and they're good people, but these people are just, and they are constantly at war. And then there's these homeless people that are behind that place, and they're constantly in the bathrooms, sleeping, showering in the sink, whatever. And then they're in the pools. They bathe themselves in the pool. And so the place is an absolute zoo. It's a nightmare, and it's just a horror show. And I told the cops, I said, I miss the gangbangers, because when I was doing government housing, I could reason with them to a degree. I'd be like, look, I'm just a security guard. I'm not here. I'm not a narcotics agent. I'm not reporting you to the narcs. Whatever the jump out boys got going with you, I don't have that problem. I'm just here to make sure nobody steals anything. When they were out there selling their drugs in that government housing, I'm not condoning the behavior of what they've done, but I didn't have, my brother's, he knows. And so, there would have been problems. But I told them, I said, I would tell them, and they didn't want the heat on them. So nobody stole anything. Nobody broke into anything. And because they
had a business to run.
They did, and they were up there selling crack. So it was the easiest thing to just do to go through there and say, hey, and they were basically our security. They'd be like, oh, it's all good, Wolf, we're good. Okay, cool. And I'd leave. Never had problems. Once they busted them all, then we had all of these illegal immigrants that came, and now you have this element of homelessness. It has become a nightmare, and it is an absolute, whole nother type of people. Exactly, Jamie.
I mean, if we shipped all of our criminals and crazy people and shipped them over to another country, and they were doing what they're doing here, they'd be like, damn Americans.
Yeah.
That's who's there, right? It's not an offensive towards Venezuelans
or any particular
anybody else. It doesn't matter. It's people being in a place with no opportunities, shoved into an area so they can be marked on the census for voting control. You know, this is why they did it. This isn't politics. It is politics, but it isn't. They literally ship people to districts to affect the census. That's what it was. And that they get them counted. You know, it does the whole gerrymandering. You know, it's what they're looking to do, the control with it. It's stupid. And now, but it's also a degrading of civilization happening. It's like the mechanisms are falling apart for control, order. You know, we're letting chaos thrive.
Have you noticed like the uptick now in the paranormal world? And I don't know, Rob or Jamie, if you guys or you, Jason, if you've noticed this, but we have over at PRT, and I've noticed that there has been a rise in this. And of course I've gotten bigger too, but like I was getting probably 3 to 5 messages a week at the beginning, and I'm getting 20, 30 a day now, which used to be and it jumped really significantly in the last year or two from like 5 a day, you know, and now it's like, you know, you get 20. It's unbelievable. People just, and not all of the encounters that you get are show worthy. A lot of it is like, I saw a Bigfoot on the side of the road. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Well, okay, I saw a chocolate fur colored thing running across the road. There's a billion of those. And if anybody's seen it and done that, I'm planning on using a lot of those once TikTok gets a little bigger, because I never wanted to be on TikTok, and my wife got me on there and whatever. And it's good. It's growing. It's just organically growing on its own. But I'm going to start doing these small little short little, you know, like, you know, because there's these little stories you can fill in, you can put them.
We were talking about attention span in teenagers and why my 3-hour show doesn't really hit home with.
Yeah,
I mean, you got about 5 seconds to get their attention. You're done.
Mine works for some reason, but you know, our audience is not Gen Zers.
No, neither's mine.
No, I mean, you got some millennials, older millennials, and that's about as far down as it goes.
I think my audience range is 50 years old. Most.
You think so?
I think that's what the statistics say on YouTube.
Say? Yeah. Mine's between 30 and 50. So, 30 and 60. But I can tell you this. I mean, I do hit a wide range of people, a lot of different types of people. I hit a lot of different, you know, different cultures. We do pretty good in Europe too, and I have like people that have bought my books in Europe and in Asia. That's interesting. I got a little following in Korea for some reason. Every month I get a few that buy my books from Korea, so somebody over there likes my work. But when I talk to these different people, it's like there's an uptick, and I don't think it's just the growth of the show. I think what it is more people are seeing things, and it's becoming more accepted. And I think this is the reason why I get more people from Europe hitting me up as of late, is because in Europe, they don't really have a lot of Europeans doing what we do. It's not as accepted to just go around talking about this stuff.
And they got their people, but it's not like as
not
more
like it is
culture
here.
accepted is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And I think that there is an arm of control that is going on within the European Union and within these Asian countries. They're tighter, more locked down. And I get people every now and then that lived in China that will tell me a story like the Xinjiang. That's an interesting, the immortals, these reptilians. And I've gotten stories. There was a woman, she's a doctor. She lives in Georgia, but her mother is Chinese from the Fujian province, and she was abducted. And I thought, oh, this is an alien abduction story. I've done a bunch of those. But she was abducted and taken to the underworld. And I don't mean the underworld as in gangster underworld. I mean as in like the Fae, the unseelie court. And she was actually taken down. And I did this show several months back. Might have been a podcast episode because we have the podcast and the YouTube. But it was very much her being taken by these creatures, these little, as we say in Spanish, monitos, like duendes, you know, but they're.
I mean, there's a lot of folklore around several cultures that resemble this kind of story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And then most recently, I got a story from a woman out of Kentucky who claims to have been taken by these big-eyed little creatures that looked like little white people. And I was like, the Cherokee have legends of that. They're called the moon eyes. And so I told her that. I said, that could be what it is. But there again, she was taken through a wall. when you're taken through a wall, I tell people, I was like, you're not physically demolecularizing and coming back to, your atoms aren't, that what happens is you're out of your body.
Well, I've had this conversation with a number of the abductees I've gotten to know over the years. It's like, how many times do you think you're physically being taken versus maybe you're only being taken spiritually? And they said it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that they can't take down subatomic particles and break down a neutron, electron, proton, whatever. That's not that. I don't think that could happen, or fractals, or neutrinos. We were talking about that earlier.
Or it's transphasic, whatever they're doing. Is
exactly. Yes. Thank you. And so they can do this, and then they'll take you apart piece by piece molecularly. And it's not unheard of for them to skip a timeline. And this is a weird phenomenon. We haven't talked a whole lot about this. And Jason, I don't know what you think about this, and you can chime in too, Rob, Jamie. They will take people and they will drop them off. And this is going to sound completely crazy and deranged, but this is the truth. They will drop them off in a different timeline.
I've heard this.
Yeah. And there's a guy that lives in San Antonio. He's been on my show. He swears up and down. He's like, dude, this is not my timeline. He goes, I was taken, then I walked through a portal. It was like, dude, when you talk to these people, there's a researcher too. He has a podcast that's called, I can't remember the name of it. Wraith Hunters. Forgot his name. Anthony or Tony, one of y'all that's watching, you could probably give me the name. He's been on the show. Anthony Ceballos is his name. He claims to have walked through a portal with his son, and when they were ghost hunting. And now he's in a different timeline. He's very sad. He's like, this is not my timeline. And then you wonder what this Mandela effect is. And then most recently we had a guy named Kit that told us that he told us that he was taken as a child, I guess, to a facility. He didn't realize that he was a clone. He thought this was normal to live like this. And he was taken to this facility where they were all grown together, these clones. He's a clone. And there were like batches of 30. And then they were taken to this facility, which would be Mount Denali in Alaska, near and he said that's where it was near. And he was writing code. And that's what they do. They write code. And then he said there was another facility near there where they were actually growing these chimeric creatures that resembled the Dogman, and that they were cloning them. And he doesn't know what they used them for, but he knew this. Once these clones like him served their purpose and got out of, like whatever usefulness, they would feed them to these creatures. And so he claims to have escaped. He started messaging us. The first time I talked to him was about 3 years ago. And when I had mentioned on the show about somebody having a blog from 2016, he messaged me and says, that was me. That was my blog talking about the Mandela effect. And so he reached out to me and he started telling me all of this wild stuff. He knew a lot about physics. So whoever this guy is, if he's trolling me, he's got to be an astrophysicist in some form or another. But he claims that he's not. He's just a normal guy. He's a clone, and that's all that they've ever known was that life. And so he's saying that they were growing these beings in this other part of the facility by the Black Pyramid, And of course, I did a show on that, the Black Pyramid prophecies. And there were these guys that camped there, and they started going through abduction scenarios, some of which I believe, as of late, when I've last talked to them, which was back in March, freaking bug or something flying around. But so it was back in like March, and these guys were talking about being abducted. But I think the most recent abductions were from humans that were from some sort of shadow military. And they were basically taking these people and they were draining their minds because they wanted the information from what they saw within the Black Pyramid. Knowing that what the Black Pyramid is, it has the ability to traverse space and time.
And it's like a dark tower.
Yeah, Dark Tower mixed with Kozarev's mirror.
Right.
Yeah. So then you have that, element, and they saw millions of years into the past, but it was a technology that we couldn't possibly comprehend from an ancient bygone civilization, but that they were seeing it like it was happening right then and there, but it wasn't. And when they interacted with these beings were just kind of like the caretakers. And it was a very powerful thing that they built here. You know, it was basically a station. And with the 7 of them across the world, they can actually power the entire planet. Well, this paramilitary or military or shadow, whatever you want to call it, takes them, abducts them spiritually, using remote viewing to find them because they're on a certain vibration. And one of them told me something very interesting. It was like he was in the city of night, something that we've talked about on the show. And so they take you through the dreamscape, and they're taken through walls and things like that. And one of them had started to kind of come out of his body and was wandering around that pyramid when he got snatched up by one of these soldiers that looked like he was a ghost. But he was like, I didn't realize I was a ghost, you know. And so it gets really deep. You go down that rabbit hole, and it just gets like, makes your head swim, you know, like what is this? And they're on different timelines. They're seeing the intersecting grid.
Well, one of the things I've always said, talked about on this subject is, we talk about why are, the things skeptics say, why are there 72 or 100 different species of aliens coming to this one blue ball out in the outer rim of the galaxy, Why are they all coming here? I'm like, well, the possibility of the multiverse and other timelines could explain a lot of why there's different versions of things we see. Different versions of grays, reptilians, blue, yellow, green, all this different weird phenomenon. It could be different timelines, different alien versions, different versions of us, or the reptilians are a version of this planet that went on without human evolution and went on with reptilian evolution. Mm-hmm. Dogmen could be from another timeline too. I'm not saying that's the explanation, but there is a possibility of part of what we might be experiencing or why we see so many different variants of species, craft, aliens, even the MyLab thing, even though it might appear as our American military behind it, when people have abduction encounters, it might be just a different timeline wearing military-like robe and being humans are from a different timeline. A lot of this could be going on. We wouldn't understand it.
I think Corey Good just gave us all the information we need.
Oh, dear God, no. So they're Warden. Copyright, Corey Good.
You know what I think about that? I will tell you this. This is what's funny about that. I was talking to a ufologist the other day about this. And I don't want to say because I don't want the guy saying because he knows the guy, and I don't want him going back. I don't want any drama, and he'll go back and be like, "Oh, you're talking about me." But you did ruin your name. I mean, it's like certain people. I mean, it's like Diddy's name, and let's take a look at Diddy. Maybe he started out as not some kind of freakazoid, and he was just wanting to make music.
I didn't like him from the very beginning.
I never liked him from the beginning. Yeah, but there are people who do, and then they get a hold of him, they get their hooks in him, and then he turns evil. I think Corey may have started out as being like having something really happen, and
having experiences.
Yes, and then he became an agent of misinformation because they go to you. Pardon me, and they'll tell you, hey, you got an audience, you're doing, people are listening to you. Let's muddy the waters. Let's throw people off by saying, taking them in another direction. Tell everybody that these Pleiadians, blue avians, whatever the hell, and then you go off into some weird crap.
Or he just listened to a lot of Art Bell. Because there's a lot of this before Corey Good ever started talking about it. He just picked up on the culture and the what abductees were saying and put together a good story, and then he gets to do the UFO circuit and tours and radio interviews and TV interviews and get to do it. Look at Lou Elizondo I was talking about last week. He shows a completely dumbass photo that would only taken a little bit of research at a congressional hearing and showing it and saying this is a UFO.
Yeah.
You work for the government, and now you get to do your retirement plan is just to go around and say, I work for the government for UFO, ATIP, and I know a lot about UFOs, blah, 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 and do the tour circuit, right? With not, and very lazily, if you're putting a photo like that up, it looks stupid.
Yeah.
And I've been try to hold back on Lou Elizondo, give him a chance, But, this kind of stuff reminds me of Hami Musan, who I've been told is a really nice guy, but he's presented a lot of bullshit bullcrap.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, what about Philip Snyder? Now, you take him, for example.
That's different.
That is, to me, different because,
He died.
you know, yeah. And how
In a
did
very bad way.
Exactly. And then his fingers, like, what did he just saw them off and
I've
then go,
seen
look,
the
now I'm going
pictures.
to tell you, you know, a story. This is how I messed, you know, and I had
He
somebody
was strangled with his own, what you would call it, catheter tube. That's how he killed himself, strangling himself with his catheter.
Well, you know,
that's what
guy
you're
from
telling me.
Montreal that shot himself in the head 3 times. I
Right.
mean, he killed himself too. I mean, that's how you do it. If you miss the first time, you got to keep doing it.
If you know the Clintons, you might die, kill
That was
yourself by
Clinton.
shooting yourself a couple times in the head. It
Or
just
the-
seems to happen.
Lady that decapitated herself in her car. I mean, that was a pretty amazing suicide too.
If you're investigating 0 point energy, be careful. You might be hit by a
Or
car.
the guy that tied himself up to
Or
a
poison.
tree, shot himself with a shotgun, and the gun disappeared and showed back up weeks later.
That was a Clinton body count person, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a meme that's like it's Hillary, and she's like, "You want to keep talking about this because that's how you get me to kill yourself. You want me to get to kill yourself? Keep talking about that, and I'll get me to kill yourself."
I love that one.
Yeah, and you know it's so true because if you look at her now, they always get the eyes like Soros and her and the Emperor Palpatine. They're like,
Oh yeah,
they turn old like real bad.
That's when that's what happens when you go dark side.
But have you
Feel
seen
the power of the dark side.
What was that?
I heard
Jason?
how much they've aged in the last
It looks horrible.
Look like the
They ran out
ugliest
of adrenochrome.
side is showing on their face.
Yeah. Yeah, the reptilian overlords did not bring them pineal glands to chew on. That's, I mean, the fear and loathing, you know, and he's just like, you gotta get some adrenochrome, man.
It took too much, man. Too much. Or that's when he takes
like,
too much.
That's the most amount of adrenochrome I've ever seen anybody take.
He's like, you just get an adrenaline gland to chew on, man.
Just ignoring that
The
thing.
guy's like, I'm not a werewolf, man.
It's like, where does the adrenochrome come from? The human pineal gland?
And
Take it,
then he just like starts going off on this bad trip, and he goes, I need to get to the pool, man. He wants to take him.
You know how many times I've seen that movie,
Dude,
bro.
I've seen it a lot. And I've seen it on the certain substances. Not adrenochrome, but I have.
Not
taken-
adrenochrome, no.
Yeah,
No.
but back in the 90s, I did
Yeah,
some
same
stuff,
here.
you know, yeah.
Me
And it
too.
you see it, and you're just like over there. When
And
he's
that
over
was
there
like
going,
throwing Fear and Loathing, man. Just put it on. Just put
Dude,
Fear and Loathing on. We don't need
you
another
relate
movie
to
on.
it so well. I mean, when you're tripping, you're just like you can see it. You know, when that woman's like her face is, but the scarf is blowing, and they're in the hotel, and he's like, I'm good. I've been there. I know what that is. You know,
Yes. Oh, yeah. When you're walking up to the front desk to talk to the person. Yeah.
You're
trying to hold it together. Yes. Or, you know, when they're trying to walk an ether up to the
the bazooka circus.
The brain recoils in horror.
The lady's holding like a badger. It's like, and you know that's not really happening, but that's what they're seeing. You know?
I just saw a midget with a knife go up somebody's dress.
He's like, I can't get off, man. I can't get off. He's like, just hop like a bunny. And he's like, man, third baby child, craphead. Just, you know.
Like seeing
How
your,
much you selling that monkey for?
seeing your dead grandmother crawling up your leg with a knife in her teeth.
That's it. See your grandmother crawling with a knife.
The best to me was when he goes in the bathroom, that dude's licking that powder.
Oh,
acid.
flea.
That dude's like,
From
over there,
Red Hot
smoking
Chili
a
Peppers.
cigarette, like you know, he's Young Republicans of America
Yeah.
back then or something. He's just like, I don't know what I just saw.
But you're talking about a man who could have been Clinton suicided too.
Yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson
Hunter
get
S.
into that
Thompson.
rabbit hole.
Because he had seen everything. I mean, Hunter Thompson, great guy. If you ever watch the Sonny Barger interview when he talks about the Hells Angels, and you know, Sonny, he's got that. He's like, yeah, he's a great author. You know, my guys unfortunately nearly killed him. You know, and I'm just like, holy shit. And they ask Hunter, and he's like, I don't give a shit. They almost killed me, but you know, it's worth it. And he's got that like monocle spike, whatever. And he's just like, I don't care. I'm a journalist. That's what I do. I'm a doctor of journalism. And he's like, how are you going to die? I'm going to be shot out of a cannon or someone's going to kill me. And you're just like,
yeah.
But he's up in the mountains. He's like, they're going to have to come get me. We're one too
He
many
was investigating. He was investigating politicians and sex trafficking when he killed himself. That was his next book that he was working on.
Yep. And Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail. That's another one. People don't understand how many books he wrote.
Buffalo Roam.
Where the Buffalo Roam. And I had a friend that knew Hunter Thompson who was very, very close to him. And he used to be a journalist here in Austin, and he went into retirement right after Hunter passed away. And he declined to talk about anything he knew. I was friends with some motorcycle clubs back in the day. One who knew Sonny very well, Sonny Barger, and he said that Hunter Thompson told him a lot of things. And this motorcycle club was at war with some of the same people we had a problem with at one time. I'm not going to get too deep into this, a long time ago. But we kind of were friends because of that. And they had shot up a bar down there at the end of Congress, way down, because they thought that me and these people were in there. We weren't. We tricked them, and they shot, and then they got arrested. And then they're like, he set us up. Yeah, no shit. But you're not stupid enough to go down there and shoot at stuff. Nobody got hurt, but you're dumb enough to pull a gun out and start shooting. So that's how deep, it gets. But you're friends with these people, and they basically, you start drinking with them one night, and this guy says, yeah, I knew Sonny. We used to, when he hung out with the Outlaws, and then he came down to, and so this guy was in a motorcycle gang and from South Texas. And he told me, and he said, look, I rode with that guy for 2 years. I was friends with these people, and they wanted them to help them with their war with because Sonny was good friends with the leader of the Outlaws. And then when that all went down, they blew up their headquarters. So he was telling me at that time, like Hunter Thompson had been hanging out with these guys. And yeah, and he got into it. One of them, crazy, he wrote about these different people, and he says, I rode with, ate, drank, and was nearly killed by the Hells Angels. And so this dude was very close to them, and he said some things that Sonny had said that were like, dude, if I told you, he's like, the CIA would be at my house tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's just crazy stuff. And so
it's just the game plan. It's the game plan.
No.
They used the CIA back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, used the mafia. Yeah. I don't think they're going to use the Hells Angels and all the other. And it's nothing against or good people in these motorcycle gangs. It can be a brotherhood, but it's also used for drug running and illegal things and other human trafficking. Mm-hmm. And if you're an elitist and you need some people that are going to do dirty work for you and be bouncers at your sexual parties and stuff, guess who you go to? Guess who you hire? Yeah. You go hire some biker gang to do your secret parties.
Yeah, and the mafia oftentimes will recruit, set trippers. Like they'll hire Bloods and Crips to do the low level killing, because they're good at it. You're
not going to go hire Cintas, the security guards, for these sex elite parties.
Not at all.
Ain't going to turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah. I mean, I was hired to do security at a party right over here by the lake, and the guy's a very wealthy guy. And there was nothing like any kind of weirdness.
Eyes wide shut stuff going on.
Yeah, but there was a lot of hanky-panky going on in all these bedrooms. And the guy comes up to me, and he's a big guy. And he's, and him and there was a female that was like his partner, but he was gay. But she was, and he comes up and he's like, look, I'm just going to tell you right now, you didn't see any of this here. It's what we pay you for. And I'm like, first of all, I really didn't see anything. But then that piqued my interest. I'm like, what in the hell is he talking about? Because I didn't see anything. I was standing at
might have.
Yeah. And so I went inside to use a restroom a couple of times. And then they had a couple of like bouncers that they had always used, the same guys. And I knew one of them from downtown when I was running a nightclub. And so he piqued my interest. So I got in touch with that guy when I went downtown for a drink one night. And I said, hey, what do you know about that? And he goes, dude, they get into some weird stuff, man. But it's all just sexual, weird, deviant.
But that's the level that you talked about levels. So that's like one level of it. And that's enough to have people and get control with that, the kinky stuff. But then there's another level if you want to go up higher. and get more power, and the next level is going to do even more disgusting, degrading things, and then the next level is going to do even worse. That's the rumor. That's what people say. That it just goes up. Depending on, because it's a test. It's a test of how much you're willing to.
How depraved your soul is.
How depraved, or how much ethics and morals you just throw out the window to get what you want.
Bring out the gimp.
Bring out the gimp.
Step aside, Butch.
Are you going to be the gimp? Are you willing to sell your soul to be a gimp? Because that might happen. That might happen.
You know what I think they do too, Jason? I don't know if I think what they do is they just keep on getting you more and more drugged up, boozed up, and see how far you can take it. And then they video you pictures, whatever. My guys back in the day would always have these wild parties, and I wouldn't stay for most of it. I would leave, and they'd always be like, why do you? And I was like, because I might want to have a future someday. I don't want to be here.
I'm leaving before the cops get called, is what I always was
saying. And then the police are going to come, But back in the day, though, a lot of these cops, they were friends with some of these gangsters. Yeah. They were always on the take. I'm not joking. I'm trying to be mean or ugly to people, but there's a lot of crookedness, and I saw it.
Man, there's one of the most famous ones in one of these gangs was called Satan. He was called Satan. He drove a hearse, but he was also a sheriff. What I'm saying? Like, he had a lot of things going on. He made people disappear. He worked with a number of different gangs back in the day.
Well, they're going to recruit people like that because if you look at, let's go back to the Old West, right? It was open, wild West. The reason people were there. After the Civil War, it was Arizona territory. Let's just use that one, for example. You can't get into all of it because, I could talk about Bat Masterson. I could talk about Luke Short, all these people. Let's talk about Wyatt Earp, the Cowboy War. Let's go to Arizona territory. It was populated by Confederate guerrillas really, really heavily. And so is Texas. The book Josie Wells, which is later popularized by Clint Eastwood, basically, it's a book called Gone to Texas. Josie Wells, the legend of the outlaw Josie Wells. Yeah. So you have this. He was the composite character of the Confederate guerrilla who went to Texas, but the Kansas Redlegs wouldn't let it go. There was a lot of bad blood there because he was a Missourian, and they wanted to get him. But that was very commonplace. And of course, Texas was a Confederate state. It was the furthest western Confederate state, and there was a lot of sympathy for the Confederacy. And so, if you wanted to hide out like John Wesley Hardin, Jesse James, or any of these other outlaws that came here, that's what they did. They'd spent time here, and they knew that they would be safe and amongst friends. And they had the Comanches all over the place, who were just as likely to kill you or kill the other natives, or they'll kill anybody. I'm a quarter, I know. They're a very violent breed. And I think that's where I got some of my wildness from. My dad on the other side didn't help. He's Cossack. So you got Cossack, Comanche, and the Scotch Irish.
And they were being invaded,
Yeah. So you're pretty much, I was born, I'm going to be angry, and my mother's half Spaniard, half Comanche. So when you look at this, from a just a standpoint of just like practicality, that's where you're going to go. Then once the Union laid down on Texas, they're like, we have to do a lot of work in Texas because Texas is full of these, the first thing that happened, and this is a funny thing before I get into what I'm going to make my point, the Union came down here and they're like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And the Texans laughed at them and they're like, well, why are you laughing? They're like, because you're not going to do shit because the Comanches are going to tell you what you're going to do, what you can't do.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that can't be that bad. And they're like, well, go ahead and go out there and see what happens. Because we're the Texas Rangers and we can't stop them. Let's see you do it. And of course, the Comanches just had a field day. What they finally did was just killed all the buffalo, and that's the only way they starved them.
Yep.
Otherwise, they didn't do anything to them. They starved them out. So then a lot of these Confederate guerrillas moved on. They went to Arizona territory. You had people like Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday. You had these people that were going out there, and Texas Jack, Cactus Jack, what's his name? Turkey Creek Johnson. You had guys like that. People don't realize that when the Cowboy War went down with Ike and his dickheads, that you had all of these, like you had the Earps, there was 4 of them, and then you had Doc Holliday, and they had about 6 other guys that were their friends from the old days. One of them was a sharpshooter that came on from Dodge City, Kansas. He was working for Luke Short. and he came on and he helped them win that war. Well, Ike Clanton had an army of about 100 guys, and they were pretty much the law. Nobody else could really do anything or tell him anything. And him and his guys, like Curly Bill, and unlike the movie Tombstone, the truth was that Ike was in charge and Curly was his right-hand guy. Ringo was there, but he wasn't like the main one of them, he was just a gunslinger. And when you look at that whole war, both sides ended up wearing badges.
Oh, yeah.
You had like them being deputized by the county, then the Arizona.
It's like the Lincoln Wars too, with Billy the Kid and
exactly,
them too. It's the same deal.
Mm-hmm. And so you end up. The point is that you end up with these individuals who play the devil and then they play the angel, and they end up being good guys, and then they end up being bad guys. Wyatt Earp flip-flopped so many times. He was a horse thief at one point. He was going to get hung when he was young, and then he ends up becoming a lawman in Kansas in Dodge City. Now we go back to his roots. He knocked out like 40, 50 people. That was his thing. He was a puncher. He liked to smack people with their guns. He only shot and killed one guy in Kansas that we know of. But then when he went to Arizona, he killed, a couple of those guys.
Yeah, they're never sure if they're going to get charged with murder or not. So it wasn't like something they want to always say out loud.
So he kills a couple of those guys during the OK Corral shootout, in particular Billy Clinton, Ike's younger brother, and Ike's a loudmouth and goes on this campaign to smear. But Wyatt, he ends up killing 20, 30 people. We don't really know exactly how many, but he went on a rampage when they killed Morgan. And so he just went nuts. And in Doc Holliday, of course, he was smoking people left and right. I mean, if they were making rap songs back then and they were snitching, they'd been saying, who I smoke, and it'd be like, half of Arizona, because they were just smoking these dudes, man. And it was because they could play the angel or the devil, and that was the kind of lawman that you were going to have typically. Wild Bill Hickok, same thing. He was a gunslinger. He shot up a bar full of people up there in South Dakota. Who knows how many people he actually killed? But he also played the lawman in some of these really tough towns, and I played that role. You basically have to be the bouncer in a really rough place, and you're like the law in that place, and you have to fight with these miscreants like every day. And so when I got out of being like a villain, I got hired as a security. And then I started my own company, and I said, who knows that element better than the people who did it? Like, criminals can't fool me. And I'm so staunch against it. I don't like criminality in any form, and I can't tolerate it. And they have these excuses. Well, I got to feed my family. Well, you're not going to feed them in jail, are you, a-hole? I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, do you really give a crap, or is it just greed? Because a lot of it is driven by greed, and the motivation is pure evil. And when you are up at a certain level, you flip polarities. You kind of bypass that mechanism of like, hey, I got to go through these levels of change, whatever. You flip polarity. You stay on a high energy level spiritually, but now you're on fire for God, not for yourself. And Satanism, what people don't understand, is truly the worship of oneself. And that is what these people do. Top to bottom, the highest levels of evil, whether it's politics, gangs, anything you want to think of, whatever they do. It's always starting out like and it's in levels, right? Even in pornography, they start off with just doing something, and then next thing you know, they're doing all kinds of crap that they
don't
never
say it out loud.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Don't say any of that out loud.
I'm not going to mess up the show there.
It's levels of depravity, and how they take you one step to the next step to the next step, is what they do. But it's also with like the civilized, with like the criminal and the element that you're talking about, switching from good to bad. Well, that's just the chaos that we're in. That's civilization. At those points in the Wild West, that's there was the law and order is called to bind by who's carrying the biggest gun. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That, and we see that. You see that in the neighborhoods that don't have, where the police don't go.
Yeah.
The people take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
You call
places
them,
where there's Sharia law in Britain.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And how people would stand for that, I don't know, but
because
it'd be like, Yeah, screw that. That's you want to have a revolution. They should be having a revolution right now.
No way. I mean,
Saying,
there's
screw
no
you
way
people.
they can allow them to happen. I mean, it's crazy. We were talking on the show earlier about the Mexico and this ranch that had all kinds of phenomena going on. And there's places like that. There's hot spots. But I think there was something really evil that was going on generations back, and it led into opening portals and who knows what else. This guy was a robber baron, and I believe that he probably used brujeria to stay in power, stay in charge, and he probably had brujas, and brujos doing work, for him. And it probably opened up the portals, and that's why all this demonic activity was there, and it went on for decades. And I do believe that it in that time in Mexico in the 1800s, it was just whatever you were big and bad enough to get away with, you got away with it.
It's still happening. I mean,
Yeah,
look,
it's still happening.
I mean, it never changed, and that's the thing. It's more open and able to see, in a sense, in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Because there's less law and order, right? So it's a little more chaotic, a little more open to see. But under the disguise of order here in America, these things still exist. But because we have a semblance of order in that, you don't see it as much. It's not as open. But these things, these rituals and all this stuff in the crime families exist in the crime families here in America. It's more under the current. You don't see it, as much as you see it as it's more open with like MS-13, who openly show it. Or other gangs that show it in Mexico. I mean, it's just here, you have the corporate elite. They're just as much criminals as they are. They're better at hiding it under the disguise of order and corrupt. The corruption, it's corrupt because you don't know it. You don't see it. It's not happening. It's happening behind your back. Corporate businesses are involved in criminality. All these things, they're all connected into our government, into all that stuff. But in its deep, dark seeds, the people that are really up and powerful, I think it's families, and it's been passed down, and it's the top. It is the cult is there. It's blended into everything they do. They, power by any means, by any ways, and sure as hell they're going to get into the cult to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, look what they're doing on stages now. I mean, I see so many videos of all these artists, and tell me it's just them wagging, trying to culturally get accepted by going Illuminati and doing these satanic rituals in their music videos and stuff. You can keep saying that's what it is, but honestly, they seem very serious about it. They spent a lot of, like, Taylor Swift spent a lot of time to put on this performance I saw, saying that it looks like a complete satanic ritual that she's doing. Madonna, all these other ones even now, that do it all the time. To do that, to flip, like, to go from, like, country singing girl to doing this, tell me that something's not corrupt or happening within the echelon of Hollywood, that it convinces these people to basically say, I love Satan. And to know their symbol, not only that, it's not just saying, I love Satan, they know the symbology. They know the cult references. It's not just a joke. They really do the research, right? So obviously there's something more to it than that, than just like, culturally it's I got to get my mark in by saying something about the Illuminati or whatever, it's way more than that. They know way too much. There's way too much symbolism going on in a Taylor Swift video there.
Yeah. You okay, Rob? You look like you're falling out, brother.
It's getting past Rob's bedtime. We're almost done with the show too.
Yeah. I'm going to run. I just wanted to stop in and congratulations
thank you,
10
Josh.
years, man. I've only done 6, and you guys are 4 years ahead of me. But
we're the best show nobody's heard of. 10 years.
It's the same, man. You got a great voice. You have some great guests. You do a good job. You entertain. I've watched it many, many, many times. And guys like you, I just wish you could get more, acclaim. You and Abe Cias. I like Abe too. You guys.
Yeah, Abe's awesome. I need to get him back on the show again.
Got a lot of encounters, man. Somebody that was taken as a child. And
the Mother Teresa thing, man, that was pretty intense when you talked about that, because it's something I've always thought about her, that she was involved in human trafficking and
of course.
all this stuff. And here he is right on the show telling me, yeah, I know. She put me in a closet. And I'm like, you confirmed everything I've ever thought about Mother Teresa. Thank you. I thought she was evil.
What you were talking about, I want to touch on this and then I'm going to head out. But you're talking about the people who wear it out in the open. I was not one of those people that was out in the open doing this craziness. And I never did any of this satanic crap or anything like that. But I was never out in the open. Like I knew guys, they ran a club down the road from me, and a couple of them, and they were, they worked with us, but they were down there, they were originally, and it was weird because they were a mixture of Crips and Bloods, and they kind of put all that aside to take it to the next level. Because that's ground level, stuff. That's all that slick bull crap. When you get to a certain level, you put that away. And I just remember them talking about how they used to shoot at each other, and now they were kind of working together. And there were two clubs, two of them right there. I'm not going to say the names of them, but they were black clubs. And our club had a lot of gangsters too. They were black, Hispanic, and there were different types of gangsters in there. That was you could find any flavor of gangster in there if you wanted it, and it was bad. And you had to be tough. If you were going to be at the top of the food chain, you better watch your back. And as you start to climb those levels, you don't realize it's almost like a Masonic thing. You start to realize once you get close to the top, you're like, oh crap, if you go any further, there's no going back. And that's when I was just like, I'm not doing this. And I changed my life, and it's a testament to Christ. It's a testament to God, who, I serve Christ, the Son of God. I believe that's who he is. And I want to say that what you were talking about is spot on. You have those that do it out in the open, and that they're like open about it. And there's this day and age where these gangbangers will make these videos, and they'll talk about what they did and what they do. And they got that from the Mexican narcos, because they were, even when I was young, there was this mixtape of this Cuban guy who was talking about having killed these Colombians, and he was singing about it in this kind of, Spanish guitar type, whatever. And we were like young thugs. We were like, oh, that's cool, man. This guy's just bragging about it, and it's not cool, but at the time it's attractive to you because the guy has power to be able to say those things. And then the narcos of Mexico did it. And now you have these young black guys doing it and talking about it and who they kill and whatever. But they're not the ones that are the main people. It's these major players that are doing it on a level that no one can fathom, and they're doing it behind closed doors, and they're out there pretending to be someone in the community that they're not. These guys are they're not pretending who they are. They're just telling you, yeah, I'm this. And I'm more comfortable with that than these people that are pretending,
Did you ever see have you ever seen Ice Cube's interviews about this, where he's like, dude, I'd be in a record label, and I want to, they'd be they'll tell you what lyrics do we want to write, because these guys back in the early 90s, late 80s were trying to basically foster the CIA through record companies. We're trying to foster the whole gangster lifestyle through these rappers, and we're paying for it. He said most of the major record labels are part of the CIA. That's what guys keep saying.
Ruthless Records, Death Row Records,
so they could sell crack and stuff like that.
It goes back to what what I'm talking about, the dark side of music. And you have Tupac, who everybody knows that Diddy did it. Right? That sounds funny. Diddy did it.
He did a lot.
Diddy did a lot, but he was involved in it. But I think Suge was too.
Yeah,
Suge was involved too, and I was actually in Vegas when Tupac got. I was living there at that time, and it was ridiculous, man. I knew always that he did it, and I knew that Suge was involved, and I was like, "This is ridiculous, man! Like, how can these people get away with this?" Because I think they offered him up as a sacrifice to the record label. I've always thought that. I've always said that.
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain. And then there was this whole thing with Eazy-E, when he got HIV, it was served up to him. And then they bragged about it on one of the records. If you listen, I think it's, what's his name? Snoop Dogg and Dre and this other guy. And they're talking, they say something kind of a slight about it, and they laugh about it because.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was always pushed. Because they say I'm not going to repeat the words, but they say something kind of in the background on that album, and they're like, "Oh crap!" They knew that he had been infected.
For a record label, you want to make an artist big, kill him some tragic way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you sell it all out.
They're worth
starving
more
artists are worth better when they're dead
than alive. Yeah, and the label
Gogh
sells a ton of their records once they have been disposed of. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna
Almost Dios.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good harvest this year. I'm just waiting for Taylor Swift to go bald. That's what I said earlier in the show. I was waiting for her to shave her head and
Yeah,
start
the
going
breakdown
crazy.
begins.
The
Speaking of
like
Taylor.
almost. What?
I have a friend that she told me, yeah, I took my daughter to see Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh, how was that? And she's like, well, the show was amazing. It cost us several $1,000s to go see her. Tickets were like $1,400 or something. I'm like, who does that? Nobody's worth
Dallas
it.
Cowboys. That's how they do.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones comes out there looking like an alien. Let me tell you something. This year is our year, and I'm gonna give us $1,500. You can sit right below me and watch us lose. We don't care as long as we get money. We don't care if we win or not. It's good enough.
How
to
old
get
is
money.
he? He was old when I was a little
He's
kid.
86 years old. He needs to hurry up and get out of the old fart. And then the Cowboys just keep on coming out there and being mediocre as hell. Hey, the dumbass fans. I'm a fan of the Cowboys, but I refuse. I refuse even at gunpoint to buy one of their caps. I won't wear any of their caps. I won't wear. If somebody was telling me the other day on the show, they're like, you wear everybody's hat, but theirs. I said, you'll see me wearing a San Francisco 49er or a Green Bay Packer or a Philadelphia Eagle hat before I wear theirs, because I refuse to put $1 in that man's pocket. I'm done with him. I will not support them until he is gone. Once he's gone, then and if they win, great, more power to him. But whatever. But I'm not cheering for him or rooting for him as long as he's alive. Period.
I gave up on.
Gotta go.
I gave up on professional sports after the whole COVID vaccine and everything like that. Oh yeah, mark me for that. YouTube, you can get me for that one too. Just because all the crap that they pulled. Yeah, because all the crap they pulled. I'm like, I'm done.
For that. Yeah.
Done with all the sports. Baseball, basketball, football. I stopped caring about all of them after COVID. I haven't looked back since. Cubs won the World Series. I was done. Well, thank you, Wolf, for being on the show tonight. Thank you so much for all of your support and sending listeners over here. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you too, if you wanted to do a collaboration, and I'll say this in front of the audience, might get them excited a little bit here, and then maybe not. May just say, who cares? You know,
Yeah.
I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I'm going to be putting some stuff behind a paywall. I have to keep.
Yeah,
the
I
show
saw that
going.
show. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is we're building a website that we have one, but we're going to revamp it and put the stuff. So if you'd like to, you could put some of your stuff there behind that too. You're not behind it. You can, but people can say, hey,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You go and you watch, our pay shows. You'll get Jason Bland. I mean, they can come back and watch some of your greatest shows because you get a better audience that way. People that maybe didn't get to see, some of those great guests that you had, because you don't do the promoting and all that as much,
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm horrible at marketing, and I got a 10-year archive there on YouTube. Some of it ended up being
Pretty
uploads, but most of it's on the live stream, in which people miss, and then they find the old shows that when I had to upload when YouTube banned me from going live for about 4 months. There's some of those in the playlist and all that. But if you want to see we didn't look at it tonight. My first Google Hangouts show. Don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. You can go check it out, see how bad it was and how far we've come.
Yeah, that sounds like us. The first episode we did, me and Armando, my co-host, had passed away. We did it in his garage, and the sound is bad. If you put on headphones, it only comes into your right ear. It's just horrible. It's funny because that one of the witnesses to that, actually, that first show, she who saw this goat man type creature while she was in a stall. And she could see it like in, the crack of the door.
Oh, that's
horrific encounter. I still know her. And that road, she always told me, she's like, that road is haunted by all kinds of weird stuff. And recently we talked to some people, me and Anthony, who told us they saw a dog sitting in the middle of the road and they stopped to keep from hitting it. And then it stood up and walked like a man right off the road. And those people told us that story right on that road where she had that encounter. And I tell people, there was also a police officer that had a dogman encounter there at that water treatment plant. So that place is a really creepy place, where there's one, there's usually more. And so that's interesting, though, because I had just talked to her not too long ago, and I always think back on that first episode. And
yeah,
everybody's got to have a beginning.
Yeah, mine was pretty rough. If you go back and watch it, it's pretty rough.
When did Jamie come along? When did you start helping?
Not far along after I started. Pretty much right at the beginning.
5 months, maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't too long, and
You've
it was
you've
3 or
been
4 months, I think.
working with Jason for 10, almost as long as he's
10
had
years.
the show. Jeez Louise.
Yeah,
You
Rob
can't
and
do it without
Jamie.
Jamie. Jamie does a good job. She really does.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't do it without any of you guys. And, thank you to everybody who donated and chatted tonight, and everybody shares the show. It means a lot. Keep telling people about Paranormal Soup, the show they never heard of. Biggest show they never heard of. You tell them about it. But that's it for the show.
I promote you all the time. I tell people.
I know, and I thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've definitely got a lot of subscribers because of you, so thank you. That's the thing. I love doing it. I don't make any money. I do it because this is my outlet every Sunday night, away from my work life and parenting and all that stuff is my way to talk about the weird with other people who enjoy it, But thank you, Wolf, for being on. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, all you guys. That's it for the show tonight. We'll be back next Sunday with Coleman Luck III. We're going to be talking about their Patterns of Supernatural Phenomenon documentary coming out. New guests we're going to have on. Same bad time, same bad channel, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. You want to become a channel member for YouTube? That does help pay for the show. And we're going to be doing some stuff this summer specifically for Patreons and YouTube channel members. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. See you next week. It's been a great 10 years, and hopefully another 10 years more. We'll see. Wow, 10 years from now, what this show might look like, I have no idea if I'm still doing it. It'd be crazy. All right, guys, have a great night. See you next Sunday.